film and you get to work, you just realize that there's so many things that we got to improve on. And that's what the focus is going to be, regardless of the opponent.
Ohio State #1 in a regular season top 25 for the first time since November of 2015. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next, half the Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The afternoon drive.
I think a pretty good indication that the Browns handled this in a way that actually might end up working out is how I don't see a single Browns fan actually happy about this.
Well, what's funny is that they're not too far off from what I wanted them to end up doing, too. And even I find myself being like, all right, could they have done this better? Like initially, the entire time, I said Flacco into Sanders was my dream scenario. And I think that kind of speaks to what you're getting at. That idea is that, like, there's too many options, and Flacco into Gabriel wasn't a lot of people's choices.
The afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima.
Oh, baby! High in the air! Deep! Get out of here! Holy mackerel! Brian Rocchio with a 2-out, 3-run colossal home run. Their third homer of the inning, fourth homer of the night. And just like that, the Guardians have flipped the script and taken the lead. Base hit. And the Red Sox have added on to the lead as Eaton scores, Bregman to third, Duran with a 2-out RBI double, and now 3 straight hits off Cade Smith here in the bottom of the 8th. Quan with a liner right to Story ends the game.
Keep going, keep working. I think that's one of the things that, for a lot of our guys, this is their first full season in the big leagues. It's their first full season in their role, and this is why you have to stay in the weight room. This is why you have to consistently work hard like our guys do, and we need to continue to learn how to do that so that you can sustain it for 6 months.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy Guardians TV. I feel worse about this than I have in other years.
Just got to get back in the weight room, Kenny.
Is that what he just said?
Yeah.
Oh,
hell yeah, man.
I didn't hear him say the weight room thing.
Pumping the iron.
Come on, Tommy, scram. Don't give her the weight room thing.
Just a bunch of kids out there kind of learning the sport.
So season's over, right?
Yeah, it feels like it.
We cling. It's 17 games left. How many games back are they? I didn't see the end of the Rays game.
There's still 4 out of the Wild.
There's still 4? Only 4?
That's what sucks. Because everybody else is losing right now.
Well,
Royals are losing. Mariners are losing. Tigers are losing.
Well, now I don't
Guardians
want to say it's over yet. Do I? Or am I just denying the? I don't know. Cade Smith.
I'm not saying it, but yeah, it's denying the inevitable.
Well,
does he have a parlay that we can find somewhere?
It seems like you don't have a closer, and now
you don't have a setup man.
Yeah, and now even the rotation is not as fine-tuned as you thought going. You don't have an ace.
There's nobody in the middle.
This team has nothing. Just like
Austin
that.
Hedges hit a home run last night.
You do have that. Could be a power surge. Remember we thought Nolan Jones mini power surge?
Get a little power surge, a little bit.
No, it feels like it's over.
What do you think, Owen? Come on, man.
Yeah, let's delay the inevitable.
Why not? 17 games left. Crazier things have happened.
Got one more weekend at the ballpark. I'm going to go.
See, Owen's in. Oh, God, you sound like you're going through the motions.
Yeah, I'm in to go.
All right, fine.
Drink beers amongst other people that are mourning.
Fine. That's it. If Owen's out, I'm out. It's
not
that
out.
simple.
I'll still be there.
You're going, but you're out on the season.
I'll still be there.
Oh, that's going through the motions.
Oh, come on, man.
That's a bad marriage. I'm just still going to be there as bad. I'll be there for the kids.
I'll be the show's bad marriage expert.
Yeah, I mean, even when
I don't know, those marriages you had in the Pacific Rim, I think those were good marriages. Yeah.
Good week-long marriages.
Those were successful marriages.
Even when they played their best baseball of the year, it just didn't seem like they were special. It didn't seem like at any point they had special in them, right? No. So we were like, all right, maybe there was a time where I'm like, oh, yeah, they're going to make the playoffs now. Like, we were all sitting here going, yeah, they're probably going to make the playoffs now. And then it went south again.
Well, you know, the problem
and then you're like, what could you even count on?
I think my biggest issue is that I just have way more questions than I've ever had when they haven't made the postseason. And I think I put those questions to you a couple of weeks ago, and those questions still haven't been answered. I assume that Emmanuel Clase may be done forever, and maybe the same thing with Luis Ortiz. And Luis Ortiz had a couple of good outings, I know, and had some times where I think he flirted with being a really good pitcher for you, and he was still a young guy, 25 years old. Now that's gone out the window, so there's no point of bringing him up anymore, it seems. Emmanuel Clase, again, there's no point of bringing him up anymore, it seems. The guy that a lot of people thought was the heir apparent in Cade Smith, he's completely fallen off the rail. So I don't have a closer right now. What do you think of your bullpen? Okay, that gives me my answer right there. The pause about the so we're just thinking about it. There's no what rhyme or reason.
I mean, just think about it. Last year, if you compare this team to last year across the board, what does it do better than last year?
Nothing.
They're definitely worse on defense.
Yes.
There was nothing they could do to have the bullpen that they had last year. The bullpen was unstoppable and perfect, and then when you lost Clase,
rotation's not as good. Yeah.
Just the biggest difference between this year and last year is consistency. They have flashes this year. They at least had some sort of consistency. You could depend on them to play a certain style of game last year. There wasn't too many blowouts.
No.
There wasn't a giving up 11 runs or giving up 4 in the 8th or whatever it was.
Felt
5
like
in the 8th.
there wasn't like going 25 innings or whatever it was without scoring a run or whatever ungodly amount it was at one point. Like there wasn't that. So the only thing consistent has been the inconsistency of not being able to hit, not being able to get to string along good outings. Again, you had a good month of Slade Ciccone followed up by a bad month of Slade Ciccone. Like there was nothing. And so that's what makes me like really concerned here. Is your bullpens come and they go. So maybe next year your bullpen will be better. I can't necessarily predict bullpen. Starting rotation, I'm very concerned about. I'm very concerned about the starting rotation. We've become accustomed to a certain lifestyle here as Guardians fans, which sounds like now I'm asking for alimony. We've become accustomed to having a good young pitcher who looks like he's going to be a Cy Young winner at some point or somebody that we can get excited for at some point. We've become accustomed to. Well, again, if you're not going to develop the hitting, then you better develop something. And they've always been able to develop it. So I wouldn't call Guardians fans spoiled. Like other organizations, other fan bases, they do have boppers. We don't have boppers, and it's gotten to the point where I don't expect it. But I do expect top-end pitching for this baseball team for them to be a competitive club. And if I don't have top-end pitching, then I have to look at everybody else and go, what are you doing here? You know, you and I actually got yelled at by a Guardians insider because you and I gave him a pass for Junior Caminero last week. Remember, I was like, I don't want to make a big deal about Junior Caminero. Can you really predict these things? Can you really see these things that he's going to go out and hit near 40 home runs? And I'm not going to say who, but I basically got shouted down by a Guardians insider. Like I was like, whoa, easy, calm down. All right, I see your point where he's like, I'm sorry, Ken, is that not their jobs? I mean, they traded him for another guy that never pitched for him. So it wasn't like they traded him. And they made a good point. I got no problem admitting that I'm wrong because when it came to Caminero, and I know I'm going off the beaten track here, but I've been waiting to tell you this. I wish I could tell you guys exactly who because I think you guys would go, whoa, I know. But the guy looks at me and goes, that's their jobs. Their jobs are to do that. They didn't trade him for a guy for a stretch run, for a postseason run.
Yeah, they
traded him for another minor leaguer. The minor leaguer didn't make it, Ken.
Baseball.
And then he goes out and he hits 40 home runs. They have how many people in player development? Because this was the argument. And I was dumbfounded. I said, you know what? You're right.
Look what they traded him for. I mean,
they traded him for a pitcher that never pitched for him.
Yeah. It's just. I kind of laugh at that analysis because Major League Baseball, above all the sports, has the most egregious misses you could ever have because there's no way there's such a fluky element to such a high percentage of whether guys turn into something. And the reality is the Guardians have been one of the higher, I think you'd have to say, like, and this is why they've been the model for all of the poor teams, right? I heard down in Miami they were talking about the Marlins. The Marlins were like, man, if we could only be the Rays of the Guardians in our player in a lot of our trades, right? Because the Guardians have just smashed so many trades out of the park, then I'm okay giving, especially one where not one person in the city questioned losing Junior Caminero at the time. There was not one person. So your buddy can say, yes, they missed it. It's an all-time egregious miss. And I'd say, yeah, I would imagine every GM in baseball has like 5 of those, per 10 years, that if they even are fortunate enough to have a job for 10 years.
But when you don't cultivate power and when you can't afford those misses, it makes it that much more glaring. I mean, if you put Junior Caminero in this order, how much more of a help would it be? I don't know if they'd be a playoff team. For the love of God, they are 4 games back of the wild card. So there's a lot of room they got to make up, and the Rays had the same record as we did at one point last week. So, I mean, I could see it one way or the other, but at least I would feel a lot better if I went, okay, I got home runs sitting for my team with that guy. It would just be a conversation whether or not you got to pay the guy.
I agree. I wish the Guardians were 100% accurate and soothsayers.
Yeah, but
it's impossible to be that in
their
this
margin
sport.
for error is that much smaller.
They have no margin. No, that's the reality. If you would have told me before the season, even if we would have spent $20 million more in payroll, if you would have told me our closer gets taken away and a starter gets taken away on a gambling, an unfortunate gambling investigation, I'd say,
it's not unfortunate. Just don't be gambling.
I'd say, sure. I don't know if he was. I don't know what even. I still don't know. We're just speculating at this point.
It's arguable that he's never going to be around again. So
if you would have told me that before the season and we spent $20 million on a couple of players in the lineup, I'd say, that's probably a team that's not going to win the World Series. Like, you can't afford to have that. They got no margin for error to begin with.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but they got to be held. I could always turn right around and go, hey man, you lose 2 second-round picks. That really sucks to be you. But at the end of the day, your feet are going to be held to the fire if you're the Cleveland Browns. So I have to look at a team that I hold to a much higher standard as far as, when we make these comparisons, people roll their eyes. I go, no, I expect more from the Guardians. I expect better from the Guardians. I can trust the Guardians to be a responsible organization. But
I'll say the same thing going into next year. Tell me who my closer is, and if they get investigated because of a gambling situation, I'd be like, oh, that sucks. They're probably not going to win the World Series.
But again, the point is
I'd probably say that for most teams in Major League Baseball.
When you pour that much into player development and you miss on a guy, it's that much glaring of a problem. So I have to put it as a knock on the Guardians where, yeah, I guess it is their job. I guess I was wrong. That it is their job to figure that out with that guy. And so that leads me to more questions. I think I have some power there with Kyle Manzardo, but again, I don't want to overhype and then all of a sudden it's just another Nolan Jones situation. Stephen Kwan, how many people want to pay Stephen Kwan right now in the room?
What do you mean? You mean don't want him on the Guardians anymore?
We would pay him a reasonable salary.
Not what you still were talking about 2 months ago.
Well, yeah, but that's now more realistic. So if he wants to accept $20 million a year,
that's what I wanted to pay him.
Please, hand him the pen.
That's
fine.
all we need all our good guys to do is have bad stretches so we can afford them.
I mean, simply that, is it not? That's a reason to come and watch the team.
Who else can we have?
I can't believe I'm saying it to you. Welcome to being a Guardians fan. I thought you did it longer than I did.
Who else can we have play poorly enough so that we can actually afford to keep him?
He started earlier than you. I don't know if he's done it longer than you. That's the difference.
What? Did what?
Just being a Guardians fan or a Cleveland baseball fan.
And you win. You're the biggest Guardians fan in the room. Let's move on to the next topic. Who's the best Cavs fan in the room?
That's not what we're doing.
Survey says.
That's not how it started.
Any college hoops fans left? I used to be a big college hoops fan. UFC time. Who's in the octagon? Who's the best ultimate fighting fan there is? You win, Owen. Congrats, Owen. You win.
It's just
That's
amazing.
not what I said at all.
You get to spend more of your time at the ballpark.
Like Ken and not listening to half the sentence, and then you're
I don't know what your point is.
I don't know why I'm catching anything over here. The argument's between you guys.
Catch something.
Is the football guy in the room the biggest Browns fan today?
No.
Oh,
biggest Browns fan today?
Yeah.
As far as
I don't know. I thought we were taking stock in who the biggest fan was.
I've heard all day.
Who's next? Buckeyes? I get to be the biggest Buckeye fan, right?
Well, I think we always assumed you're the biggest Buckeye fan.
Told you.
Do the childish thing.
Anybody else at the station? Who's in the running?
Well, listen how defensive you are.
Let's power rank the biggest fans of every team.
Anthony Antonetti over here. He just has an answer for everything. I mean, you should be part of the golf shirt army or whatever they call it. They're called the golf shirt mafia.
You'd know that if you're a big fan.
Oh, true. Come on, Kenny.
Yeah. Call the Dairy Brothers. I mean, I think maybe one of them might want to go toe-to-toe with you. Because it seems like you got an excuse right after another for everything that's going wrong here.
No, I just think it's pretty obvious that when you get your closer taken away and you get one of your starters who actually, you had a lot of promise. I just don't know how you call that anything other than bad luck. I just don't know.
So the whole season chalked up to bad luck?
No, I'm just saying that was another factor.
Whole season.
That was another factor that doomed them. They already had.
So anything that bad happens to the Browns, it's luck.
They already had, as we know, they started the season. What did we do? What did we do the first month of the year? We said, the Lane Thomas situation, the Fry situation, like that was working against them. This team has no margin for error. We know that. Right. They're never going to be able to withstand any kind of adversity when it comes to injuries or gambling investigations. That's probably not going to help their situation.
Yeah. Said Tillman, it's not that he's not good. It's just it's bad luck.
Like, what do you think? How many
David
games?
Bell, it's not that he's made of glass. It's just it's bad luck.
Like, you've made a case that the Browns, with if Flacco and everything goes well and the offensive line holds up, and
which would take a lot of luck,
right? But if everything goes their way, how many wins?
If everything goes their way,
great defense,
8.
And what if Flacco's investigated in a gambling sting?
I tell you what, I'd be pretty damn surprised.
Be a win-win.
I'd be pretty surprised.
Is that good luck or bad luck?
So Emmanuel Clase is
the Browns have accounted for that.
Emmanuel Clase.
I want to hear this. Yeah, Ken, take some
wait
time.
A minute.
I think you need to take some time to
I don't
answer
need to take any time.
I think you realize how dumb what you said was earlier, and you need to take some time.
First off,
why don't you tell me when we come back from the break whether that's good luck or bad luck?
Okay,
I think
you
need more time.
No.
You need more time.
No. This is where it goes way over break, and then Owen gets mad.
And I think you're going to say it's stupid again.
What's stupid here? Why are you calling me stupid?
It is a stupid thing
because you're going to railroad everybody, and you don't want to pay attention to everything. So let me get you straight on this.
The rest of the
guy that most of the audience wanted to replace with Cade Smith before the gambling investigation. That's what the entire season hinged on. And I'm the stupid one on the radio here. I'm the dumb one on the radio right now. I'm the dumb one out of that.
You've given yourself enough rope.
It's all on Emmanuel Clase because he got in trouble for gambling, allegedly. So that's why the Guardians get a free pass on the season, according to Anthony. That's the argument you just made over the last 5 minutes, yelling over Owen and yelling over me.
That was not my argument.
Okay.
So now
is that what you heard over there?
You're stupid, your ears don't work.
Is that what you heard over there?
So we've got to get something here, right, Ken?
I mean, you can call. Hey, if you want to sit there and name call all day long, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't make you right, but that's perfectly fine. You can do lowest common denominator stuff. That's okay.
I still am waiting for how the Guardians were supposed to account for having their closer ripped from them, and you acted like it was their fault. And you're like, well, just don't gamble. Just don't gamble. Okay.
That's how we win arguments.
That should be their motto next year. Just don't gamble.
That's how. If I believe Lima's wrong now, I'm just going to call him stupid. You big stupid head.
Calvin Ridley. Stupid. Just don't gamble.
You're
just
stupid.
don't be caught up in a gambling investigation.
Yeah, it's not that hard to not break the law or break the rules of what your team is.
I don't know what he did.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me.
I got thousands of other guys that are not being investigated for gambling.
I've got one pitch that people showed me video of.
Thousands of baseball players not being invested for gambling.
I've got one video.
There's so many.
Ken said he gambled. I don't know. Did he gamble?
I argued if he gambled, it seems it looked like,
now it's an if.
So they don't just suspend you for no reason.
They don't put you
on an exempt list for no reason.
That's the new slogan of the Guardians. What if he didn't gamble?
All right, hey, how about this? If he pitches for the Guardians next year, I oe you a Coke.
That was funny. Oh, just one?
2-second trivia.
Now we're gambling on whether he gambled or not.
7:45.
Great.
To see this show is a problem.
Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan.
92.3. until kickoff. The Fan Bud Light Tailgate Show is powered by the Valley Automotive Group. Smiley One, heating, cooling, and plumbing. Smiley One and Bryant, doing whatever it takes. And Slater and Zers, personal injury lawyers. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. Here we go, Brownies! Here we go! 92.3 The Fan. Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Back in the Fan.
Was an entertaining game last night.
It was one of the best.
You can't deny that. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It was one of the most entertaining losses I've ever seen. Gotta tell you.
We should power rank those. We don't really remember the baseball. Like they don't. When at least for me, I can't speak as only the second or third top Guardians fan here in this room.
Boy, that really bothered you.
I can't speak. Oh no, I don't even think
it would have helped if he'd listened to the beginning of it.
The funny thing is
just jumping in at the end.
The funny thing is, I don't even think I was disagreeing with Owen about that. But when in baseball, like when they lose a game, I'm on to the next one. I am not. If they're not shaking me to the core.
They give you 161 other ones.
Yeah, but now when there's 17 left, there's not that many left. So now you're in the nitty
25
gritty.
games left, right?
Yeah.
There's 25 games left.
How many games do we have left?
25.
I did the math. Well, I was off by 7, 8.
You missed the whole weekend.
Well, I was like, if it's 17, they got less than zero shot, right? It just.
How did we did the math yesterday? There was 8 too. There's 25 games left.
Yeah.
Oh, they're definitely not there.
68 and 69, right?
68 and 69 is what? Oh man, I did the math wrong. I totally added too many when I added it up.
Well, I just wanted to make sure because I'm like, why are we even talking? God, that's it. We should be doing their obituary.
Well, there's only 25 games. I mean, if there's still 25 games left and they're 4 games out, not dead. Not good. Not dead. Still alive. Somewhat. But you can't deny that there's major concerns. When the season does end, you better believe there's major concerns with the ball club. Because I don't feel good about any. The only piece I feel really, truly good about is Jose Ramirez. But again, Jose Ramirez is going to be 33 this month. So if he's going to be 33 this month, like how many more years do you have to help him? Because he's your best player.
Kenny, we'll get into bare knuckle brawls on this team from time to time. And I think every team...
That was as nasty as it gets right there.
Well, if you're emotionally attached to stuff with these teams, like the Browns, it's easy. It's just they play so few games, so that's obvious. The Cavs come playoff time, and then wondering about their playoff situation again. And we have some audio that I thought was very interesting, where it sounded like a backhanded compliment, to be honest, when it came to the Cavs.
I thought it was.
With this team, do you get a sense that? We normally have reasons for optimism every year. And this year, me and you both, we gave them the benefit of the doubt. And now I don't think we're going to do that again next year, going into next year. Mm-hmm. I don't want to speak for you on this, but listen, I don't think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But just real quick, doesn't it feel like there's going to be something that happens this offseason? And I don't know. The category of something happening could involve...
What's that something? Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're going to fire the manager or anything.
No.
Based on this year, which has just been... It's just been a horrible year in so many ways. So many ways outside of one stretch of baseball. Okay? I don't know if it's going to be like the front office will have some kind of declaration about where they are. They call it more young guys, right? Bazana at some point, we're going to see them at DeLauder, but just feels like that's not going to be enough. The fan base, even if you gave them the benefit of the doubt going into this season, the fan base going into next year that's gone. That is absolutely gone. Now we have questions about the manager, and the payroll is most likely going to be where it is again. So what is the front office going to do, or what is ownership going to do to stoke any kind of feelings about this team going into next year?
But all those moves would not be moves that I could, as frustrating as it is. And, I know we got into about Junior Caminero and all that other stuff. Leave that aside. I don't think now is the time, as frustrating as it could be, now's not the time for crazy declarations in the offseason. I don't think that this is pound the table upsetting. It's one. I think they're probably going to finish somewhere around 500 or under 500, but it's not anything to go crazy about and start saying sweeping things and making any sweeping changes. See, that's the weird thing about the Guardians here is that when it comes down, when I calm down for a second and get out of the argument and look at them for what they are, they're a respectful team that I think demands it. And I think because of how well they've done being a responsible franchise, I think they deserve and demand my respect. So I don't want to go crazy and say how bad this is. And some people during the 10-game losing streak saying that they were trying to lose and all the other stuff. I don't believe that at all. I don't think anything nefarious of the Guardians. All right, they're a team that does the best they can with what they have, which is something that we don't want to ever say in pro sports. So that becomes the same argument we do every single time. I'm just pointing out right now that with this club as they are, until this thing gets figured out financially with Major League Baseball here, you're in a major holding pattern. And I tell you what, I don't know if there can be anything that's really said because remember, you're going into a possible work stoppage after next year. So am I supposed to make some great big crazy declaration, go into next year, maybe finish around the same record, and then go into an off season like that? No. I really think as much as we are frustrated over this, and you can tell it's boiling over, they did not meet the expectations of the season. No matter if you feel that they got lucky last year or overachieved last year, they did not meet those expectations. But now is not the time to go out there and puff out your chest if you're Paul Dolan and the Guardians and say, it's going to be this way, this way, demanding excellence and all that stuff. Because you got things that are supposedly supposed to be, even though you're an owner in baseball, but you're only 1/30th of it, out of your control. When it comes to the television deal, the labor negotiations, whether or not there's going to be a cap and a floor, all that other stuff, some of that's in your control. A lot of it's not. You're a voting member of it. You can't declare anything. So as of right now, if you're the Guardians, you finish the season as best you can. Maybe you make the postseason. Maybe you don't make the postseason. And after that, you go quiet. Do they have a Winterfest this year? Or are we doing the? Are we still in the sabbatical here?
I was just going to bring up that this has the makings of one of the most apathetic off seasons that I can remember with this team.
Then I don't know how they're going to do the Winterfest or anything like that. I would have a Winterfest and just try to put our best foot forward and go, hey. And when they ask you questions,
meet the kids.
When they ask you questions, you answer them as best you can. You don't need to be nasty about it. You answer them as best you can. You sign the autographs. You take the pictures. You do the pitch, with the quick pitch thing. You do the cotton candy and the hot dogs at the convention center when it's 10 degrees outside, and you hopefully get to the next season. And that's the way it goes. That's where I think they're at right now. And I'm sure that I'll be at this point next year, maybe demanding more and maybe being upset, but I'll have bigger things on the plate that I have to worry about. And one of the big things that I have to worry about is that labor stoppage, because then we're going to get to March of 2027 and there might not be any baseball there.
Well, I mean, that's just an added thing that will get fans to be even more apathetic. Like, now you're telling me there's a work stoppage coming, so what, are you going to shrink payroll? Is that even possible? You're going to go backwards after what happened this year. And this is the first time, I know we got to go, this is the first time in a while, really since the Manny Acta years, that I have heard fans talk the way they are talking about this front office, where almost like the shine is off, right? And the Junior Caminero thing couldn't happen at a worse time. Because as much as I wanted to argue about it last segment, and we argued, like, I think a lot of people are on your buddy's side of things, saying, they just missed out on this. 40 home runs, they just missed out on this.
You brought it up, and I was more than ready to go, them's the breaks. And then they go, well, Kenny, and I swear to God, hand to God here, okay? I know YouTube's on right now. They go, Kenny, that's your job. They pour so much of their resources into player development. That's what they did. And if they would have traded him for somebody on the stretch run of a World Series quality team, okay, then you can't make that argument. But they're going, Kenny, you traded him for a guy that never even pitched for you. It was a minor leaguer. And I go, damn it, that's a hell of a point. Like, that's a miss. That's a big, big, big miss if he ends up being a big player. Now, I could try to make as many excuses as I want to and say, well, then you got to pay the guy. Then what's the point of any of this? But I think if you're talking about any sweeping changes or any sweeping declarations, this will not be the winner to do that. No, because you got way more things coming up that are going to be very difficult to navigate, and that don't even they have something to do with your baseball team because it's Major League Baseball, but they have nothing to do with the day-to-day general fan interest of the team. It's going to be big. It's going to be something that's probably going to be tough. It's going to take a long time, and I don't think there should be any. Stephen Vogt should be safe. The front office should be safe. Everybody should be safe until we get this labor thing figured out, until we get this television thing pounded out. Once you get that out, then yeah, maybe I'll change my tune on all this stuff. But until then, hey, you're 68, 69. It's nothing. It's bad. It's not as good as what we wanted to be. It's not as bad as what it could be. So we just kind of got to deal with this until the ocean can get settled out here. Around the AFC North coming up at 8 o'clock. We got 2-second trivia at 7:45. Your chance to win free Mr. Hero. You can be eating free Mr. Hero, but you have to answer 2 questions within 2 seconds each. And I'm not asking for much. I just want them to win enough for everybody to keep their jobs. I set a high bar around here. Coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Anthony
Take advantage of PSE Credit Union's low 4.99% APR auto loan today. Visit psecreditunion.org. That's psecreditunion.org.
You'll hear the latest from Browns practice as it happens. Basket and Phelps, weekdays at 10, 92.3 The Fan.
We're on the AFC North, 8 o'clock. Bob Haney going to join us from Baltimore. Mo Egger, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati. Chris Muller, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, getting you ready for week one of the 2025 NFL season. Of course, Mo Egger in Cincinnati. We'll be hosting Cincinnati here at Huntington Bank Field. Your flagship home for Cleveland Browns football, 92.3 The Fan. Coming up 1 o'clock Sunday. Andrew Siciliano, Nathan Zagura, Gerard Cherry on the sidelines. Going to be a fantastic time. Hopefully, Browns start off 1-0. I don't know how much that means to everybody. It means something for me, but we'll talk about that coming up today, tomorrow, and obviously Friday. Also, 2-second trivia coming up at 7:45. I got some audio to play. It kind of threw me off here. This is how the Browns evaluate their quarterbacks here, Owen. This is what it is. This is from Catherine Hickman, Browns assistant general manager. Hit it.
I'd say I'd just go back to the plan that we have in place for these guys when it comes to developing is acquiring as many valuable data points we can. Now we know these things take time. So what is that going to look like at the end of the year? I don't have a crystal ball to tell you, and I don't do well with hypotheticals, but I will say that every opportunity we will have to evaluate them, we will take. None of them is going to take, a back seat in how we plan and program for them with the reps that we have. And then from there, we'll see what the spring brings, and we'll evaluate all possibilities like we always do.
Well, I think a lot of people were upset about that because it wasn't much, but I don't, they're not going to give you much on anything. I wasn't very upset about that.
I watched that
video. Should I have been upset about that?
I think it's just indicative of, where the Browns are at.
Is it?
In a quarterback search.
Is it?
They're flailing away. They're flailing away. And I think the Shedeur Sanders pick just kind of confirmed that. They were throwing darts. They threw another dart. It's going to be really hard for those darts to hit this year in their given situation, and they're going to throw another dart next year in the first round. And she's talking about data points and evaluating quarterbacks. And
well, are they going to be good or not good? The Browns. They're not going to be good, right?
This year?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Shouldn't it be pretty clear who they should take then? If they're going to have a high enough pick, shouldn't it be pretty clear? Do we need to? That's why I'm like, well, guys, we're kind of getting upset with a giant non-answer. You guys, I could very well be wrong with that. They could be doing that. But when you're drafting that high, third round, I don't disagree with you about what just happened. Let me point that out. Flailing away when you take Dylan Gabriel in the third round and Shedeur Sanders in the fifth, that does sound like flailing away. That is just, hey, let's pick quarterbacks and, well, we like this guy. He could be a career backup. We'll take him in the third round. We like this guy. He's got a high ceiling. Nobody else is taking him, and let's bring in Shedeur Sanders. That does sound like flailing away. I don't disagree with you now. But if everybody's still here in 2026, right now it's going to be tough to say, but if they're still here in 2026, shouldn't it be pretty obvious at that point who they would take? Is there really going to be a neck-and-neck thing? Now, I know some people after week one...
Do you mean positionally or the actual person?
The quarterback, yes, the person too. Because if they have the number 2 pick, somebody's going to be number 1 with a bullet. And then you go, well, all right, then let's figure it out for who number 2 is. Number 2 should still probably be somebody that you're pretty passionate about. Because I know everybody's kind of off on the quarterbacks week one saying, this 2026 class isn't going to be that good. It's week one. You got guys who are not playing playing for the first time in a long time. I'm going to give them a little bit more time. The cream is probably going to rise to the top. And I'm sure, I brought up Lenore Sellers yesterday, I'm sure Drew Aller will be in that conversation by the time the season ends. But I'm not going to mention him until after November 1st with this fan base. Because it ain't going to happen. Because if I say anything about Drew Aller, then you're just a homer and you like him because he's from Medina. So fine, I'll be quiet about Drew Aller, even though I like the kid. I like Lenore Sellers. He ain't from here, from what I understand. looks pretty good, pretty strong, pretty sturdy. I may feel very passionate about Lenore Sellers. Do I really need to get in a bunch of data points if I watch a lot of South Carolina football and go, hey, I watched him in 2024, then I watched him in 2025. He got better. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's got a good arm. Let's take that guy. Do I need to put together the data points or anything like that? Like, that's why I'm thinking if we're talking about this last year, totally tone with you, flailing away, throwing darts at the board, fine. Let's see if we get lucky with one of these guys. But here, no, there's no way. They can mess it up. Obviously, they can mess it up. But there's no reason to overthink at the top of the draft if you're not going to be a very good football team. Like, you had the one, is it Seth Walder?
Yes.
He had
his season simulation.
Simulation, yes. Is that ESPN correct?
Correct.
Okay, at season simulation. 5 and 12. That probably puts you in the top 5 drafting. So maybe you got a decision between two guys and you got to get that one figured out. Or you just use your pick and the Jaguars pick and you move up depending on who it is. And we don't have to make that decision anymore because then it's going to be right there. I can't imagine we do all this with that top choice. John Dorsey, no matter what we think of him after the fact, John Dorsey, I think, was too much gut feeling sometimes. John Dorsey still knows how to pick players. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield's a pretty good quarterback, obviously. Did we have to reach a bunch of data points to pick Baker Mayfield number 1 overall?
Well, that is what I was going to ask the question about. So every team, when they go to the draft, especially at the top of the first round, they've done all the research. They've they've collaborated with their staff and all of their scouts. They've poured over the game film and they've analyzed it to death. My question is, when it comes to the Browns, the way she was talking, it almost seems like the Browns have their proprietary analytics method. Who knows how intact it is from even 3 years ago? Maybe it has adjustments every single year. Maybe it takes into consideration the trends of the NFL and how defenses react. And so they tweak that formula every single year. And I'll never understand how they tweak the formula to arrive at third round, overdrafting Dylan Gabriel and then taking Shedeur Sanders 2 rounds later. Because then, is that another analytical model in the draft over a 5-year stretch? Here's the amount of quarterbacks we have to take. And for a competitive spirit to be able to come up with a guy that could maybe start, or maybe it details who the backup could be. I don't know. I don't know any of that. But the way she's talking, it seems to me that in their proprietary formula, they put it all in there. They put a blindfold on after that. And then whoever comes out with the highest number, that's the quarterback.
Is it like with the chickens
Browns.
and the kazoo on South Park where they cut off the head and the guy plays the kazoo and wherever it lands, they're going to take that QB? They can't do that high in the draft.
I don't know.
They're not going to do that high in the draft.
Isn't that kind of what it sounds like to you? Is they're
not going to do that high in the draft.
You know what?
Right,
let me give her the benefit of the doubt.
Fire it away.
Let's analyze.
I'd say I'd just go back to like the plan that we have in place for these guys when it comes to developing is acquiring as many valuable data points we can. Now we know these things take time. So what is that going to look like at the end of the year? I don't have a crystal ball to tell you, and I don't do well with hypotheticals, but I will say that every opportunity we will have to evaluate them, we will take. None of them is going to take, a back seat in how we plan and program for them with the reps that we have. And then from there, we'll see what the spring brings and we'll evaluate all possibilities like we always do.
Did that make sense to her in her mind and then it came out a different way? Or is that exactly how she wanted to say that?
Listen, as a person who's listened to
that answer was a mess.
As a person who's listened to a lot of Donald Rumsfeld,
there are no unknowns.
She did exactly what she was supposed to do. All right? It's not how I would have answered it, but I probably would have said too much. And she kept it vague. Mm-hmm. Certainly kept it vague. But I don't think if they get a high pick for a first-round quarterback next year...
The Browns have maintained their strategic advantage with their line of thinking. They haven't spoiled any of the secret sauce there, I can assure you that.
216-474-0092.
The secret sauce that's led them to this situation.
Well, it's a hell of an argument I'm about to make because I want them to win at least enough games to keep everybody employed, which I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, especially after hearing that audio. That's coming up in 5. With 2-second trivia at 7:45 this morning. Your chance to win a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. That's at 7:45 on the Fan. Peter and Company Jewelers, you
Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The Afternoon Drive.
What is the point of this year to you?
Moving on from Deshaun, separating who's going to be here long-term or not, and figuring out if you have a long-term quarterback play on the roster. I don't think wins and losses is the end-all be-all unless you're a 3-win team or you're an 11-win team. If you're somewhere in the middle, then it's, were the young guys healthy and did they play well? Did the young quarterbacks play at all? And if they did, how did they look? Did Stefanski keep the locker room when tough time hits? Because you're not an 11-win team. At some point, tough times are going to hit.
I'm going to have a hard time with a lot of this because there is a part of me that I just need to see Stefanski in the win column. And that might just be that it's hard to do with this team.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Your chance to eat free, Mr. Hero, coming up at 7:45. It's 2-second trivia. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Already getting hammered for my teas. Already getting hammered. This is not going to be a fun time. Guys, I got to admit, I'm paranoid. I'm probably the most paranoid person you're ever going to meet in radio, at least here. Not the most paranoid person you're ever going to meet. I don't know who you run into in your personal lives, but if you ever run into me, I'm going to be one of the most paranoid people you ever meet. What?
Anthony wanted to power rank earlier, but now we're just going to do it while we're here. Most paranoid people in the building.
In the building?
Yeah, let's go.
Am I doing it or is he doing it?
You're doing it. You brought it up. You're doing it.
Paranoid, number 1, me. Number 2, I would say Mitch.
Hey, that's good.
How you like that one?
It's 50% paranoid right now.
And then the third one I would say is, I would say Keith. I think other people might have some self-esteem issues that they got to work out. But yeah, I'm definitely the most paranoid.
You say Keith because
he's a boss.
Well, not only that, but now he's got some weird conspiracy theory that was supposedly Ohio State's going to have their national championship vacated last year.
You know what? And that all night.
Player that was on another team, but they were getting information from. Boy, it just rolls off the tongue like the Connor Stallions cheating saga.
I got to tell you, I'm entertained by. I don't consume a lot of it. I got to admit, the snippets I do see, the pizza reviews and stuff, I find to be entertaining. I like several of the guys over there. I thought that when he came out on Big Noon Kickoff, Dave Portnoy, I was like, oh, it's like Jim Cornette.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then it continued, and it's going to continue, and I'm going, well, you can't do it every week, can you? Maybe you can. But it's like, well, there's other games that got to be played too. Like you can be mean-spirited to others. Is it just going to always be Ohio State and Michigan stuff? And
I think that would get really old.
This weird thing of making up like a vacated championship or something like that ain't going to compute either.
Yeah, it seems like, all right, you've got this thing where you're going to come out and you're going to be a big heel to one fan base in particular, but like, why do Iowa fans care about that in week 4?
Penn State fans don't care either.
They're just not going to watch.
Like, you do have other... hey, Ohio State's the biggest fan base, and Michigan's one of the biggest fan bases.
Sure.
But Penn State's a massive fan base, and so is a lot of other schools in the Big Ten, and I just don't know if every week that's going to work. So it's like, well,
how about
you can't just...
USC?
Yeah, you can't just pound that one thing into the ground. You're right about that.
Washington.
You can't just do that every single week. And so when I first saw it, it's like, oh, this is going to be fun.
And it was fun.
And
I thought
was
it was fun.
But then, like this week, we're just still doing the same old thing. And I'm going, well, you got to, come on, we got to grow from this. You're going to have to break something down here. It can't all just be Michigan, Ohio State. You can do that leading up to the game, but there's a whole schedule in between that. For both these teams.
And like every week, will it be a new championship that doesn't count that he's going to talk about?
That's just how I feel.
Is that going to go over well with the Big Ten?
I'm still entertained, but it's that might get old pretty quick. But my goal, this is where I'm going to get hammered for it. My goal for this season is, I'm going to get killed. Here we go. My goal for this season is I want to win enough for everybody to keep their jobs. I don't like looking for new people. And I already have people who heard the Catherine Hickman audio and they're like, you're an idiot. Don't stop saying that. My issue, guys, is this. Everywhere we go outside of Cleveland, And I don't know if it's like it could very well be the rest of the NFL's joke on us, and we don't know it. I see another one of these guys, these football guys, and they hold Andrew Berry in the highest regard. The highest regard. And they look at Kevin Stefanski, and the word guru gets thrown around. And I think a lot of Browns fans are going, uh-oh, really? Like, there's lists that put Andrew Berry in the top 10 in general managers in the NFL, and I'm going, I don't know if that one's going to work out for you. I think that maybe we just have our darlings, and we've decided to keep our darlings here in the media, and that may very well be true to all you guys. So I am very paranoid that the moment we let go of these guys, they latch on in other places and they end up doing well. To which I brought up to Lima yesterday on the phone, even though in the first segment it sounds like we hate each other. I brought to Lima on the phone yesterday, and he goes, well, if you get he's like, that's going to take, especially for a guy like Barry, you told me that's going to take years, because you can go out and take the first overall pick next year, get yourself a good quarterback, and then you're laughing by the end of all that. And I go, yeah, but still, we might not get it right. And then I got another Baker Mayfield situation on my hands where everybody and their brother wants to throw him in my face for I will start talking about baseball, and I'll get Baker Mayfield stuff. Like, it's nonstop. And it's hard. I tell you what, it gets to the point where it's hard not to root against him. Like, I try not to root against him, because while I think that he shared some of it, I'm trying to move on and get us out of this quagmire that we're in. But damn, man, every single second you look around your shoulder, there's somebody with a Baker Mayfield thought on you. And I'm just starting to get rid of this whole Browns fired Belichick. Browns fired Belichick. It helps that he lost 48-14 the other night, but it helps that we got rid of the whole Browns fired Belichick thing, because I always say Baltimore fired Belichick, and you always tell me that that's still like a little thought, but everybody still thinks the Browns fired Belichick, and I'm going, well, I'll take it to my grave that we didn't fire Bill Belichick, for crying out loud. And I just don't want that to happen again. Because everybody outside of Cleveland keeps telling me that these guys are fantastic and that we'd be total fools to let these guys go. So I look at good organizations that are telling me that these guys are right, and I'm wondering if I'm just putting on clown makeup in the mirror. I'll ask you guys that. Dead serious. Because, guys, we're at a major crossroads here that we need to discuss. I have an owner who's going to college football games before the season even starts. So his head is definitely thinking a bit about 2026 already. So he's got to figure out whether or not he's going to keep these people or he's not going to keep these people. And I got everybody and their brother telling him and telling me and telling everybody else that these guys are the good ones and that you're fools to let these guys go. So then I get to going, well, you only won 3 games last year. If you only win 5 games this year, you're gone. My goal is to win as many games as it would be to probably keep everybody employed. And it comes out of my mouth and I go, is that the right thing to do? Because do I trust at the end? Because when you hear that audio from Catherine Hickman, I can't say I do. Do you trust at the end that they'll make the right decision to draft the quarterback to get us out of this mess that we've been in here for the last umpteen years? And now we can just blame right on ourselves. Like that whole Johnny stuff yesterday, I could just say, well, he's an idiot and a goofball and did a lot of drugs and all the other things, and he just washed himself out of the league and he continues to be in denial. Okay, but Baker Mayfield's right there, and I keep getting the reminders about Baker Mayfield, and I got people taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl this year, and that knocking is just going to get louder and louder and louder and louder, and I'm just going to go nuts. I can't make that decision. We can't make those mistakes again. So it's important, vitally important. And my goal is I want to win enough games because I don't want to do coaching searches and I don't want to do general manager searches and I don't want to have to start this whole mess all over again. But I don't have faith that they're going to win enough games to quiet criticism.
And obviously, ironically, the more games they win, the harder it is to get the best quarterback in next year's draft. Or the guy that you think could be the best quarterback in next year's draft. That's what makes it really hard.
Does anybody agree with me? Does anybody agree with me? I just want what I think is best for the organization, but for the first time in years, I'm afraid to open a door. I got 3 doors in front of me, and I'm afraid to open the first time in years.
Let me sum this up.
I can't tell you the last time I felt this way. I don't think I've ever felt this way. If I got 3 doors in front of me, Tone, I'm afraid to open up any of them.
So you're saying that because Kevin Stefanski's clearly the best coach they have had since... I actually liked Butch Davis, but, whatever.
Well, no. Butch Davis went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He and Butch Davis are the only hires they've made that has actually proven that they've been better. Mm-hmm. In 25 years, They fired so many coaches, and it just seemed to be either the same or worse. They're the only two where it's proven that they've been better.
And then GM-wise, I'll make the argument that I like John Dorsey's draft. He only had, 2 drafts? I liked his drafts better, but Andrew Berry is the best in terms of, God, I don't want to say systems because then I'm going to sound exactly like what we just made fun of.
So, you're
last
stuck
segment.
in the same spot I am.
I know.
So you got to walk through a door, brother.
But Andrew Berry is, where is he? Like, we know pecking order, Kevin Stefanski is anywhere from, 8 to 14 in terms of head coaches in the NFL.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I mean, do you have a better set of numbers?
I mean, yeah, right around there.
Okay. He's won 2 Coach of the Years, too. So in those years, he was a top 5 coach. But anywhere in that stretch, Stefanski, Berry, I don't know. I don't know where to put him in terms of GMs. I don't know.
I would
But you're talking about keeping this intact. I want to make sure everybody understands what you're arguing here. Is that you're worried what's behind?
I'm afraid we're going to let go of good people and we're going to hire worse.
Yes,
is what I'm afraid of. Because it seems that this is reaching an untenable position of 6 years. We've made every excuse we possibly can, but I also know that it's like, how can I call it a put up or shut up here? I don't think they're going to win many games.
You're positive that they're good people.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But that doesn't matter. If me and Hugh Jackson didn't get along, I don't think Hugh Jackson's a good guy.
No, I'm not talking about morally or ethically. I'm talking about, you say I don't want to let go of good people.
Oh, yeah.
You're positive that they are a good NFL head coach and a good
Oh, no, I'm not positive
GM.
of that. I can't.
That's why
I'm not positive.
So are you wanting them to keep their jobs because you like them as people or because they do what is necessary for the organization to be a winner?
I'm afraid of letting them go because I don't want to have in 10 years, like we hire 2 new guys and they're even worse. And then we get in the wrong quarterback and he sucks. And this whole thing is just an even worse mess. I can't do it. We can't do it anymore. We can't do it. The guys who used to call me up at night who were 60 years old and called me just a pup and that I was naive and I didn't know any better. Guys, I'm getting closer to that. So now I'm starting to really think about the mortality of a fan base here where it's like, we can't continue to do this. Like somebody has to write this. With 40-year-old quarterbacks with 2 pups in the 3rd round and 5th round can only be done so many times. It can only be done so many times. I can't continue to do this. Something in me is going to snap. I'm going to become like the media brethren that I've made fun of here over the last 14 years, and I'm terrified of it. I'm terrified of being dramatically cynical every single year to this team where I don't even see any positives in it. We can't continue to do this. And so if we get to a point where you let go of Andrew Berry and you let go of Kevin Stefanski, and then Kevin Stefanski ends up taking over a football team and they do good things, or Andrew Berry takes over a football team and they do good things, and I got Baker Mayfield doing good things continuously, I'm just gonna pull my lip up over my face and walk out into the lake. I can't continue to do this as a fan. I can't continue to do it as a host. I mean, to the point where it's like I'll go be an AD somewhere and go be happy. I'm serious, man. I'm at a major emotional crossroads here because I can't continue to weigh on this with the fan base, with all the changes that are coming. I can't do it any longer. And so I don't want them to be let go because of my paranoia of what they could be letting go. I think Jimmy Haslam may feel the same way.
And all that even though it's been 6 years.
Yes. I think Jimmy Haslam may feel the exact same way because how can I say it's a put up or shut up year? I got Joe Flacco starting the season. He's 9-19 as a starter in his last how many games? You brought that up yesterday. I got and the guys behind him. It's not like I have number 1 overall sitting behind him. I got number 94 overall, whatever it is, sitting behind him. And then after him, I got 144. And 144 has a massive fan base. But do any of us think that that's going to change where we are with the quarterback next year? No. So I'm putting them to a standard of, well, you better go out and win. You ain't got a full deck. You don't have a full deck. So it's like, how many wins do they got to get? Does 6 wins keep them? Can I make an argument for 6 wins and keeping everybody?
I think Stefanski gets fired with 6 wins, but most people I've heard think what you think, that would be enough to bring him back.
216-474-0092. Talk me out of that idea if you feel it. If you agree, please. But if you feel like, hey, Ken, you're losing it. You're being a little bit paranoid here. Don't trust what the rest of the NFL says about these guys. Please let me know. Because I'm telling you, 14 years we've been on the air here. 14. And this is the first time I've looked at what direction I think this team could go. I don't know what direction they could go. I have no idea. 216-474-0092. I should say, I don't have an idea where I want them to go. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work. We're on YouTube Live right now. Go ahead and watch us at work. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. We have 2-second trivia at 7:45 on the Fan.
It's Anthony Lima.
This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Headline sports news every 20 minutes from the University Hospital's sports desk. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I'm supposed to have a damning opinion. I'm afraid to have one now. I have a crisis of confidence, Tom.
Is it that bad?
Because I don't want people to be fired. Because I don't like looking for new head coaches.
Even after,
but I don't want to.
It would be 6 full seasons. That's long for most teams in the NFL that aren't winning championships.
I don't.
Hell, Philadelphia got rid of their coach, and they shuffled their front office after winning a Super Bowl.
That's understood, and that is a hell of a thing to think about as we navigate this season. But I don't want to reward less than mediocrity. I mean, that's the 3-14 is terrible. It's hard to be that bad this year. But if ESPN is doing their predictor and they have 5-12 for crying out loud, it's like, what are we holding on to here? It's just going to have to be that simple. How on earth? Like, there has to be a point, and this is where I think we're a lot of Browns fans. Like, I'm catching hell on the YouTube comments, and guys, I appreciate you trying to talk me out of it here. Like, I think by the end of the year, and this is where the clarity has to come in, because it's before the season. There's a part of me that hopes that we prove everybody wrong. Like, I listen to a lot of football guys, like real football guys, not me goofing around with you guys. I listen to a lot of them, and I mean, they laugh. Nate Tice laughed about the Browns. Him and Matt Harmon and those guys, they just laughed and laughed about the Browns. Hilarious. The team that we spend most of our time talking about, fantasizing about, planning for, just laughed them off in the middle of their predictions and all that stuff. Great. And I go, okay, you guys laugh at the Browns, but you also say the Browns would be idiots to let go of the people that are in charge. You get what I'm saying there? Like, you guys,
I think it's split.
People laugh at the Browns, but you also say you're idiots if you let go of the guys in charge. Because again, and nobody outside except for Jason Lloyd. Jason Lloyd is totally 100% on board with us about this. It's like, yeah, Jimmy's the owner. Jimmy had to sign off, but Jimmy wasn't the one who spearheaded going after Deshaun Watson. It's like they have great big cover over Deshaun Watson. It's like, no, Jimmy was given the idea. And then he felt that he had to go deep enough to guarantee the contract because Deshaun never wanted to play here. Still doesn't want to be here. For crying out loud. Like, yeah, he was the one who was willing to go all in, but it wasn't like he was looking for the idea.
But do you think in this case, wouldn't this be the one time that fans would not go after Haslam for
firing coach for losing a bunch of football games, firing a general manager for losing a bunch of football games?
Like, we got into a cycle where it was every other year, new GM, new coach, and they got in that cycle, and it was like, all right, we're not even allowing anything to develop. We've allowed it to develop now.
Where is Kevin on the tenure list now in terms of coaches in the NFL?
I remember we looked at this last
month.
Where's
Andrew on the tenure list?
I think they're definitely top half of the league.
They got to be top 10 by now. 6 years. I mean, we go through 6 coaching changes every single year, 5 to 7 at least. So I mean, they got to be somewhere when it comes to tenure. They got to be somewhere in the top third. So it's like you've given them a good long period of time. Jason's going to join us tomorrow at 7:20. We don't need to go over that whole thing again. But I mean, Jason's the one who agrees with us on it. Like, again, I like Kevin and I like Andrew, and I think that they can be smart people. But damn, like, there's times where you just. You had a bad run. You had a recent bad run, and I don't know how they can bring you back. Yes.
Kevin is 9th currently.
Jeez.
Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Andy Reid, McDermott, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Zach Taylor, and Matt LaFleur. Those are the ones longer tenured than him.
Okay. One of those always gets an out because his owner's cheap. And they've been, obviously, I mean, he's coaching a Super Bowl for crying out loud, but I don't know how much that means to anybody.
He's the shortest tenured in the AFC North, if that matters.
He's the shortest. Well, geez, Louise. Well, okay, I guess you got that going for you. That's one thing. Where's Andrew? Do we know where Andrew at off the top of our head? That's probably harder to find. That's probably way harder to find. Well, no, I mean, because it's got to be, because I know you've had some general managers have been around a little bit longer than what head coaches would be. But if you go 6 years, and it's like, hey, man, you gave them a good, strong amount of time to get it going. And knowing what we know that just outside of Cleveland people just refuse to accept is where, hey, man, like he was talked into that to make that decision, the owner was. So if the owner was talked into it to make that decision to go after Deshaun, then he doesn't get the same type of, and maybe that's where the miss is, that they don't get the same type of
let me ask you this
leeway here that they get elsewhere.
We have
15th.
not.
He's 15th. Okay.
We have not. So the owners have been a lot more.
That includes guys like Jerry Jones, who are on that list, who's been tenured since he bought the team.
Okay,
True.
so I mean, Jerry doesn't even count because he has, something terrible has to happen.
So the owners don't like to pull the plug on the GM, which is funny because I think Stefanski has a higher. I would say maybe I don't know. I think people are very fractured on this stuff, but I think his rating locally is higher than the GM.
I think if you got rid of one, I think people would be just fine with getting rid of the other.
You probably would. So does it mean anything to you extra that Haslam, and it's not uncommon for owners to take private jets to go see, big time quarterbacks, especially 4 of them, which is what they were doing, plus other players. They got 2 first-round picks, not just going to be a quarterback. They're obviously like Caleb Downs. Why not? Right? If they're picking, number 6 overall, who knows? That's not uncommon. But what has been uncommon, we have not seen Jimmy do this. And if he's done it, he hasn't been public. Like, we have heard that he's been at games over the years, but we haven't seen him on the field shaking hands. That seems to be not letting the guard down, but almost letting everybody know, yes, I am here. And by the way, I'm bringing the GM, and the coach is going to his first big-time college football game. Did that mean anything to you?
I think that meant a lot of things to a lot of the fan base. In a certain term, I think a lot of us who pay attention to this stuff, I think we were trying to get ourselves excited for 2025. And again, guys, I think Friday we'll get here, and I think we'll get ourselves going because it's a football game, and you only get so many of these things to get to enjoy, to try to get to enjoy. But when you're trying to get yourself psyched up for a season that nobody has you doing anything well in, and you see the owner and the general manager on the sideline at Ohio State, and then you read the reports that the owner, and I imagine maybe the general manager, but I'm not sure, that at least the owner was at Clemson LSU with 2 quarterbacks that people think are going to be top quarterbacks. I don't know much about Cade Klubnik being there, but I mean, I've been telling you guys that for the last year. But with the other guy, with Garrett Nussmeier, it's starting to feel like a lot of folks are going, well, where's your head at? Are you feeling about 2025? Because if you're not feeling 2025, fans were already having to be talked into 2025. So they're going to be already looking at 2026. Albert Beer kind of mentioned as much yesterday on Afternoon Drive, talking about the Browns' presence at these college games.
I don't think it's quarterback specific. I think maybe like the involvement of the owner would be. Like that's the one thing I would say is like sometimes when the owner goes on trips, it could signify that. I mean, it also like for some owners is just an opportunity to get around their scouts and, it can be a good trip just as far as, bonding with your football people. And look, like they weren't the only ones. I mean, there are a lot of GMs that will go out on the road that specific weekend for a couple reasons. First of all, their season hasn't started, right? So they have a little more flexibility to do it. Since the cut down isn't that weekend anymore, there is not the amount of work for them to do at home than there used to be. And the players are mandated to be off, right? Like there's rules in place. I think you got to give them something like 4 or 5 days off in that window. So you can't even work with the players if you had any choice to.
Well, Albert, how likely is it that the Browns are going to actually draft a quarterback in the first round next year then?
How often does a 3rd-round pick or a 5th-round pick become your franchise quarterback? I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory looking at the depth chart when you see a 40-year-old as a starter, and then you see 2 rookies that were drafted outside of, the top 80 picks, whatever that number is. like that are on the roster, like chances are they're going to be looking for a quarterback in the first round of the draft in April. It's just all you have to do is look at it logistically. And so, of course, they need to be out there. They need to be looking at all the different quarterbacks. They need to be doing all of their homework. And the live exposure part of it is a really important piece of it. So I would say they'd be more worthy of criticism if they weren't doing all of this right now.
Audio again, you can hear that Afternoon Drive. That's Albert Breer on Afternoon Drive. Find more of that at 923thefan.com. Albert Breer's right. Andrew Barry's there to scout everybody. Scouting everybody. Jimmy Haslam's got a business to run. Jimmy Haslam, I think he wanted to turn the keys over to Baker. I think he did, and I think he did it too soon for Baker, and Baker's even admitted that. I think that he wants a guy that he can trust to be the franchise quarterback. I think that's why he was on that trip. I think the Arch Manning stuff, guys, I know Arch Manning was terrible on Saturday, and so it's now the cool thing to beat Arch Manning up while he's down and all that stuff. We'll find out how great he actually is. Maybe he isn't that good. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. But I think he wanted to kind of kick the tires on whether or not, okay, maybe there's some people down here. It's a big college football game. He is a college football fan, but maybe there's some people I could talk to see just how interested he would be in coming out this year. And then when you go to Garrett Nussmeier and when you go to Cade Klubnik, those guys probably are coming out this year. And so definitely you would go down there and see, because you're trying to find out more. You're tired of everything that has led with the behind-the-scenes stuff with Baker, definitely the behind-the-scenes stuff with you-know-who, and all the other stuff. You got to find someone you can trust. The owner's down there. Andrew Barry's down there for everybody. Absolutely. The owner's down there for one guy. Technically 3 guys. But he's there to find one guy in particular. And if he's thinking about 2026, I think a lot of fans are thinking about 2026. And I think it makes it easier for the fans thinking about 2026. 216-474-0092. We go around the AFC North coming up at 8 o'clock. Coming up next, again, 216-474-0092. A chance to eat free Mr. Hero. But you must answer 2 questions within 2 seconds each, my friends, because we're doing 2-second trivia. And you can eat free Mr. Hero if you get 2-second trivia correct. 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. 2-second trivia coming up next on The Fan. Window Nation coming up.
writer is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Miss one day and you miss a lot. We are the radio home of the Cleveland Browns.
Here we go, Brownies! Here we go!
92.3 The Fan. You have 2 seconds and only 2 seconds to win. This is 2-second trivia.
It is time for 2-second trivia and your chance to win a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. They got 9 different sidekicks to choose from. We ready for this one, folks? Here we go. Try the pepperoni and cheese bites, fried pickles, breaded shrooms, and so much more. Plus, we introduce loaded potato almost said waffles. Wafers.
I thought you were going to throw the H in before it. Waffles.
Waffle.
Wafers.
Wafer.
Piled high with
how it's pronounced.
Cheddar cheese sauce, ranch, bacon chives. You get that chives in there, brother. That's good stuff. Excuse me. Oh, let's get going with 2-second trivia. Tone is ready. I think our contestants are ready. We start off with Bob in Lyndhurst, home of the Arcs. Bob, are you ready for 2-second trivia?
God, I hope so.
Lima, take it away.
All right, Bob, let's go down memory lane as we're getting ready for week 1 of the NFL season, which means the Browns and an opener also happens to be at home. They've had many of these. Do you remember which kicker nailed a 58-yard field goal 3 years ago in the opener to defeat the Panthers?
Cade York.
Yes!
Well. Not off to a good start for Tone.
Why?
Bob's off to a good start.
I want to give a winner. Why would I not?
Go. Bob, congratulations. You are in the barn. Are you ready for your chance to win 2-second trivia?
Yes, I am.
Lima. Take it away.
Ooh, we got a Mitch question here. Name the player acquired by the Cowboys from the Packers in the Micah Parsons trade.
Kenny Clark.
All right, that'll do it. We just had a discussion about whether or not anybody
I
would...
hope you have something to talk about for the next 8 minutes.
Oh, I have plenty.
Are we going to do pick your own topic again? Last time I did this, we got to do pick your own topic.
Oh, you're a previous winner.
All right, Bob.
Yes, I am.
Dealer's choice. Let her ride. What do you want us to talk about?
Ooh, Israel-Palestine?
I'm all for it. Let's go.
I don't know if we want to talk about that.
And I think one thing everybody's missing on this debate, and I see so many people, they try to make it seem like this is easy. Well, I can tell you I can make it easier. So if you go back to the year 1642...
Well, I just want to
do you have a
power ranking Israel-Palestine? Let's go.
No.
Oh, I get to pick which one I'm rooting for?
Turn it off.
No, Bob, you don't get to rank. Nobody
Bob,
gets
you
to
don't
rank.
get to rank anything. All right, I'm putting Bob on hold.
You can rank Mr. Hero sandwiches. That's it.
Okay, so I
can't believe you did that in the first one. So you obviously have something to get off your chest now. That's what happened there. That's okay.
Over the years,
I came up with some good ass
over the years, I have had people call into the show when they say, the salary cap in the NFL, it's not real. Or in the NBA, well, Dan Gilbert has enough money. He could just give stock options or throw somebody part of the company. And it's like, well, you see the CBA, you can't really circumvent the CBA.
Do you not trust
in
me?
That manner.
You don't trust me at all. I got it in the show. I heard you over there telling me about it. I knew are you going to get into the Ballmer stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. I knew you were going to say you don't trust me at all. You're like, nah, we're going to get this in right here. Boom. He wins, and now I'm going to get my stuff in.
The NBA world is abuzz this morning because of a story that came down 6 a.m. Apparently, Pablo Torre, who's been doing investigative work, real journalism, he has quite a bombshell that the Clippers owner, Steve Ballmer, gave a job to Kawhi Leonard, a no-show job to Kawhi Leonard, gave him $28 million plus to endorse a fraudulent tree planting company secretly funded by the Clippers owner. So
like carbon offsets?
So basically just here's $28 million.
Yes. I'm watching the video right now.
That was a King of the Hill episode.
It is carbon offsets. And it wasn't just to endorse. He was the CEO of the company.
Oh, he was.
Kawhi Leonard was. It's called KL2 Aspire.
And he's the CEO?
Yes.
Hey.
They have his signature on this.
Say what you will, it's still way better than what the former owner was accused of. So they're moving in the right direction over
Are they going to make Ballmer sell the team like they did the last one? Because this is a big deal. Like, the other owners will all do everything they can. Because every owner has thought about this with money. Any owner with money that is like, I will win at all costs. I'll just outspend. I'll do whatever. Oh, my God. I'll give Jimmy Haslam any ideas. But Dan Gilbert, I've heard people say this about Dan. Like, can't they just find a way to, why can't we get free agents? Why can't we just do this? No, well, here's how the salary cap works. Here's how, especially the second apron. Like, this is going to be the like a huge story in professional sports today.
I told you before. Okay, leave him out of it. I'll just hell with it. I don't care. So say Arch Manning does do. You know what? Forget it. Say Drew Aller has that great of a season. Say he has an option to come out. Whatever quarterback. All right. And I threw it out there. I said, well, hey, man, I know you have a rookie wage scale, but what's stopping you from, I could always go back to college. Okay, what's stopping you from giving the grandfather 1% of the team?
Right.
I mean, that's the gift that's going to keep on giving. I don't know. Someday I imagine the bottom will fall out of the NFL and professional sports, but we'll all probably be long dead by the time that happens. So that's that's still going to be something that makes you money hand over fist for years and years and years. And that was my wonder. Now, I'm sure that there's certain things that they've already put in their bylaws as a league. But that's a big, big scandal, though, if you're willing to offer Kawhi Leonard a no-show job. $28 million is a no-show job.
I mean, that is enormous. That's absolutely enormous.
And it was as I'm going through this, for marketing, and Pablo went through and scoured everything he could find for mentions. Like Robert Downey Jr. does a commercial for the company, which he's being paid for his marketing. The guy that got paid the most was KL2 Aspire, which is Kawhi Leonard and his basketball number.
They really did their best to hide it.
And he has mentioned Aspire 0 times.
They couldn't put his, a family member there or something? There's nothing they could have done? Like, when they did, we always kind of roll our eyes when it's like, hey, yeah, you got Isaiah Mobley. You got Thanos. That's not his name. What's Giannis?
Thanos. He just snaps and the lane clears out for Giannis.
What's Giannis Antetokounmpo's brother's name? We all kind of go, oh, really? Or
Thanasis?
Thanasis, thank you. Or what was it? Kevin Durant? Didn't they hire his old high school basketball coach or something on one of the teams? We always kind of roll our eyes on stuff like that. Guys, I mean, we're from Ohio here. And especially if you're from one area of Ohio, you know the tricks of the trade of being able to, hey, maybe dad just got a transfer to a certain city in Ohio and, it's all perfectly legal. And now he lives in that certain city that just happens to have the same job. And he just wanted to move to a certain region of Ohio. And, maybe his son plays for a really good high school football program there. Ain't no big deal. We're all used to something like that. $28 million over maybe a possibly fake carbon offset company. That's something. I mean, you think about the buildings that Dan Gilbert owns in Detroit and Cleveland. Who's to say you can't put him in charge of the so-and-so building company and that, hey, you know what? Donovan Mitchell's just the CEO of the building.
Well, and really,
and you walk in and it's just like boiler room. There's nothing in there.
Make Malik Beasley the janitor right now.
Wow. Yeah, because we said we can only offer him the league minimum.
Perfect.
Right? Yeah.
Perfect. Go, hey, you want to make up that $40 million when you're falsely accused of gambling, Malik? I got a way to do it.
That way he can live in the closet and order the fish whenever he wants.
Listen, once a week, I need you to hold this mop as the inspector comes by. Adam Silver is going to be coming in here. Just hold this mop and take this bucket, and then you can go about your day.
So what's the punishment? Okay, take away draft picks.
I mean, honestly, it might be you have to forfeit the team if you're giving away $28 million.
I know they wouldn't. You wouldn't think they'd want to do that because Ballmer has so much money and they want these rich owners.
Yeah, but
it's better for the league to be freewheeling and free spending.
That's a high crime, though.
But that is really high, and it's something every owner has probably asked their lawyers. Is there a way we can get around this? Is there any way? Because I'll do whatever it takes to win. At least the ones that want to win. at that level. This isn't baseball where everybody's nickel and diming it. Like in the NBA and the NFL, there are owners who will try to spend their way to a championship. You don't think Jerry Jones has thought about that? Every owner to try to do what they can do to make history. And the risk is this. So what do you do when you actually catch somebody if this turns out to all be...
Well, they didn't do a good enough job
true.
hiding it.
Yeah.
I mean, Pablo Torre's pretty good at finding stuff.
Well, they went bankrupt, and that's how it all came about.
Well, were they at a $28 million shortfall?
They owe Kawhi $7 million.
Oh, and he's like, I want my money.
You know, if you're going to give a guy a no-show job, might want to make sure that business stays afloat. Okay. Well, that's something. You know what, Tone? Glad you brought that up. Glad you make sure to put that one in there. That was some good stuff. Coming up next, Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, Mo Egger, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, Chris Muller. We go around the AFC North, Week 1 style, at 8:01 on The Fan. Daisy dips, wrench dip, French onion dip, there for you.
10:55, we will hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski live right here on 92.3 The Fan. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive, weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
It's time to go around the AFC North. It's week one style, my friends, and the first time we do it with week one is with Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, where, boy, there's just no controversy other than, I guess, is it Super Bowl or bust for the Baltimore Ravens? And I think a lot of people would say, yeah, but really, what would you bust up? You would just kind of run it back with Lamar Jackson and everything, so I don't know if you can call anything truly Super Bowl or bust. But what's the expectations? How much of attention are you paying to the regular season? Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore.
Super Bowl or bust, pretty much.
So
I mean, they've owned the
who busts if you don't win the Super Bowl?
Well, the season becomes a bust. And now you're stacking these great regular seasons with achievements of multiple Pro Bowlers, individual honors at the yin-yang, big contract extensions. But with each playoff failure, the window starts to close just a little bit. And Lamar's very much in the prime of his career. Not trying to say he's not. He's 28 years old, and he's a young 28 at that. But John Harbaugh bristles at the Super Bowl or bust talk. He did a podcast with the Baltimore Ravens website, said it's all fake, it's a phony narrative. People saying it have probably never won anything in their lives. So he is getting irritated with that level of chatter. But, you know, if the Ravens lose in the divisional round at home next January, they could be 17-0 and have 15 Pro Bowlers. I would think they're behind closed doors sucking down beers. They'll call it a disappointing year, and I'd agree with them.
How do fans feel today about John Harbaugh? Obviously, we know what the resume is, and we see the regular season win total, and it seems like more people from the outside of Baltimore, they tend to blame, Lamar Jackson when they lose in the playoffs. I don't hear a lot of John Harbaugh criticism.
John Harbaugh takes a lot of heat within the Ravens fan base because we listen to it after every loss or playoff shortcoming. But, this is a guy putting up a Hall of Fame resume. They win a Super Bowl this year, for instance. He's a lock for Canton, I would assume. But, he's been here. This is his 18th season, believe it or not, as head coach of the Ravens. And, he takes the clock management. Like, does he even understand what the challenge flags for? Do they get the panicky in the postseason because the offense goes from averaging 30 points a game to staggering around for a half and pick a playoff game? So John Harbaugh gets a lot of criticism from the local fan base here, but it's, you don't know what you got till it's gone, the old Cinderella song, I guess.
Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, as they start their season at Buffalo Sunday night, Orchard Park, New York at Highmark Stadium. It's the final season there in that stadium. I got more about stadiums here in just a moment here with you, Bob. But do you believe this is a possible AFC Championship game preview?
Possibly. I mean, the Ravens have lost to the Bills twice in the postseason, including last year, and, disappointing loss. Mark Andrews dropped that 2-point conversion, and we all know the circumstances behind it, but I don't think anybody would be surprised that Baltimore and Buffalo are playing for the championship, and, this opener Sunday night could have a long way in determining who would have the home field advantage in that game. But look, the AFC North, as you guys know, is extremely tough year after year. Buffalo should have a cakewalk in the AFC East. Kansas City's going to get some resistance, I think, in the West. I mean, Houston maybe will be the team that rises up like a lot of people thought they were going to do last year. But AFC Championship game preview, absolutely, I could see that.
Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. The flock-friendly fare prices, what led to this to knock down these prices so dramatically in concessions at M&T Bank Stadium?
Well, let's see. They put a lot of money in taxpayer money into refurbishing M&T Bank Stadium and eventually Camden Yards over here, where Camden Yards, the Orioles offered kind of a $5 this, $5 that for beers and peanuts and dogs. So maybe the Ravens are trying to keep up with them. But from what I read, if I read it correctly, the beers at M&T Bank are the cheapest in the National Football League. You know, I'm thumbs up to that. So I'm trying to be appreciative of the fans, because Ravens games, so Orioles attendance has dropped 22%, but that's another story. But losing has a lot to do with it. But Ravens fans, usually the flock does represent, and I guess old Steve Bisciotti's, this is his way of repaying them, if you will.
Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, do you think that they are good at what they do?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Stefanski, two-time coach of the year. I mean, they were just in the playoffs 2 years ago. The Browns, Joe Flacco helped do that. Andrew Berry, I don't know do we blame the Haslams for the Deshaun Watson debacle? I guess. So, yeah, I think they're good at what they do. I got no problem with that.
Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore as the Ravens get set to take on the Buffalo Bills Sunday night. Cincinnati, they're at Cleveland on Sunday, as we all know. You'll hear it right here on your flagship home for Cleveland Browns football, 92.3 The Fan. Bengals, Super Bowl bust, it's always been talked about with them. What about the hot start conversation, though? T. Higgins, he didn't like it, Mo, and I know I might have asked you about this a couple weeks ago, but now we're down to the nitty-gritty of things. How important is it for them to start hot in Cincinnati?
It's very important because, I mean, number one, T. Higgins might not like it, but it's reality, right? They've started 0-2 each of the last 3 years. They were 0-3 last season, 1-4. Heck, even the year in 2022 where they went 12-4, they only went 12-4 because they won their last 8 games. And so the slow starts thing is a thing, whether T. Higgins likes it or not. It's one of the things we have talked about since last year's slow start. How does that get rectified? And look, if T. Higgins doesn't like it, he can go to his coach and ask him what's up, because Zach Taylor has changed training camp and the preseason and the entire approach and revolved it around getting off to a better start. That's why the starters have played in the preseason. It's why they've, I think, taken on a sense of urgency during training camp, a little bit more physicality, that sort of stuff. And so the getting off to a fast start thing has been emphasized by everybody in the organization, and I think it's pretty important. Look at their schedule between weeks 3 and 7. They play 5 straight teams that made the postseason last year. They get the Steelers on a short week. The Detroit Lions come here. They have to go to Minnesota and they have to go to Denver. So if you start 0-2, we start doing the thing where we wonder how many of those games are they capable of winning? And then the other thing is, like, this franchise, we've talked about it a lot. The calendar flips to October, and you're doing playoff math, right? You're trying to figure out, well, they're 0-3. How many games can they win in the last? What's doable? If you get off to a slow start, you essentially have no chance of getting the one. Team fancies itself as one that can get the 1 seed and make the Super Bowl. I'm skeptical of that. That goes out the window if you start 0-2 or 0-3. And you're going to be favored in your first 2 games. So, yeah, the fast start thing I think is really important. We'll see if this team is capable. The one variable that's different this year is Joe Burrow isn't coming off the surgeon's table. He didn't have an appendectomy. He doesn't have a calf issue. There's no stomach bug. He doesn't need his toenails clipped. He's gone through a completely normal training camp and offseason for the first time in his NFL career. And so that's why I think, more than any other reason, this start for the Bengals could be different than any of the past 3 seasons.
I look around the lines of the NFL, Mo, and the Browns are the second largest home dog in the league this week, but yet they've had success against Burrow, and Myles Garrett has completely wrecked these games at times. That surprised you what that line is at?
A little bit, because of their history. It's not that unlike last year. Last year they were big home favorites against the New England Patriots, and people who talk survivor pools around the country were like, well, you know what, this might be the week to use the Bengals, and I bought that more last year than I do this year because of their history with the Browns. And look, they haven't been able to block Myles Garrett really since he entered the NFL. They have not remade, but they've added to their offensive line. Their 2 guards are different this year. But, yeah, man, I mean, the offensive line is going to be one of the major questions about this team. And, look, the thing about bad defense is the Bengals had a bad defense last year. Most of those same dudes on last year's defense are back for this year. Bad defenses, to me, don't stand out against good offenses. They stand out against offenses that are going up against quarterbacks that aren't great, personnel that isn't great. And so, to me, the great equalizer in this game can be if the Browns can do what so many teams have done to the Bengals over the last couple of years, which is gash them for big plays. And if they do, and if Myles Garrett wreaks havoc, and I think both of us think those things are plausible based on the question marks surrounding the Bengals, then I think this game has a chance to be pretty close. And so I thought the line would be roughly 4.5. I didn't think it was going to be, 3 or less, or certainly a pick 'em. I think the Bengals should be favored. The fact that the number was as hefty as it was slightly surprising to me.
Mo Egger with us on the show. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, are they good?
I think Kevin Stefanski is. It's, you guys know what he's done. He's, 2-time coach of the year. Got that team to the postseason 2 years ago. I think ownership tied his one hand behind his back with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. Maybe you give Andrew Berry a little bit less of a pass for that, but I think when people from outside look at the Browns and point to their issues and wonder what's going on there, the questions and the criticisms are more about ownership than anybody on the sideline or in the GM suite.
Mo Egger, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati as they get set to take on our Browns coming up on Sunday. We now go out to Pittsburgh. 93.7 The Fans. Chris Muller as the Pittsburgh Steelers get ready to start their season at the New York Jets at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Well, weird meeting there between Aaron Rodgers and his former team. Chris, getting down to it with Cam Hayward. What's going on in this situation?
Oh, I have no idea now. I don't know. Here's my theory. He showed back up to practice to end his hold-in and thought maybe that little gesture would be perceived as some sort of olive branch by the team, and they would kind of cave, and they would give him the $4, $5, $6 million extra from next year that he wants, and he showed back up and blah, blah, blah. And then nothing happened. And so now, to me, this is a Hail Mary for him because I don't think he's going to skip games, even though financially there's not much incentive for him to show up. I mean, because he got most of his bonus already. I just think this is a Cam Hayward Hail Mary to try to get them to do this before they go to New York and play that game because the Steelers don't renegotiate contracts in the season. We all know. I suspect, though, he's hoping that they'll blink and that they'll take him seriously here, but I expect him to play whether he gets new money or not.
We see a lot of videos of Aaron Rodgers and the fundamental football guys breaking stuff down. I wonder, is there any chance he's sandbagging? Because he looks terrible in these videos.
I mean, I kind of hope he is. Some of this stuff, like the camp stuff, he's basically said that he tries stuff he would never try in a game, and he almost tries to throw interceptions to see if it's even capable or, if it's possible for him to complete certain passes. So I would hope. I mean, if he's not sandbagging here, we are in big trouble because he would be looking every bit his age. I'm going to choose to believe that the arm still got some pop, that even though a lot of it was popcorn numbers last year when he was putting up decent stats, but the Jets were still losing games. I'm going to choose to believe that if he gets protected, that combined with the fact that I don't think they're going to ask him to throw it, 35 times a game. I think they want him to be like an extremely high level, like elite game manager will actually get the most out of him because he is just not the guy he was even 5 years ago. Like time has eroded the mobility and all the other stuff that really set him apart and made him special. And the one thing he's got left is the arm. And so hopefully Arthur Smith is able to design an offense that puts the arm on display selectively and doesn't ask him to win games by himself very often.
Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, do you believe that they are good?
I do not really think Berry is. It's very hard, though. I heard Mo say something to the effect that ownership clouds his ability to kind of really judge some of these guys. I think Berry is so-so. I think Stefanski is bad at the job for which he is actually doing, which is being a head coach. I think if Kevin Stefanski was my team's offensive coordinator, I would be very excited about what he could dial up. He just strikes me as somebody, in the end, who's probably more built for that job than he is built to run a franchise. But then again, he's the head coach of a franchise owned by Jimmy Haslam, so who knows? If you put him in a more stable situation with a less volatile compound in the owner's box, maybe you'd get more.
Chris Muller, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, taking us around the AFC North. as the Steelers get set to take on the New York Jets. The Baltimore Ravens, they're getting set for their matchup against the Buffalo Bills, and obviously the Cincinnati Bengals getting ready to take on us. 3 for 3 on that, by the way. 3 for 3 from the outsiders.
That all say the same thing about the ownership.
That's not an argument we had, but the conversation we had, again, you and I know, Jason Lloyd knows, who joins us tomorrow at 7:20. Everybody else, it's like, no, ownership. And so I think for Browns fans, the ones who listen to us on a daily basis, like, guys, I know history is written by the winners. I know that it's not going to go their way, and the ownership can never just come out and say, yeah, we were put up to the idea. It's never going to happen. Because it sounds like you're throwing people under the bus. You want good people to work for you. But that seems to be the ultimate pass for everybody. And I just can't keep people around in a pivotal 2026 after this year. I just can't keep them around because of that. Like, at some point, you pay the fiddler for it. 216-474-0092. It's better to be tough than talented. Cavaliers are finding that out the hard way. And Matt Derry heard our argument at the beginning of the show today. It was a knockdown drag. All three of us, I got pulled into it. Owen got pulled into it. It was wild. Matt Derry, he's going to sort it out from the Derry Brothers Guardians cast. We're doing a run-in coming up at 8:25 on The Fan.
Anthony Lima 4.
North with slowdowns from Medina Road. There's a crash 480 west past 77 on the right shoulder. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
When you want the latest on the Browns, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
I just think it's pretty obvious that when you get your closer taken away and you get one of your starters who actually you had a lot of promise, I just don't know how you call that anything other than bad luck. I just don't know.
So this whole season chalked up to bad luck?
No, I'm just saying that was another factor.
Whole season.
That was another factor that doomed them. Calvin Ridley,
stupid.
Just don't gamble.
You're
just
stupid.
don't be caught up in a gambling investigation.
Yeah, it's not that hard to not break the law or break the rules of what your team is.
I don't know what he did.
So they don't just suspend you for no reason.
Before you jump to the conclusion,
they don't put you on an exempt list for no reason.
It's really hard to listen to our show sometimes.
That was only part of it. It got very childish.
That was actually the nicest part of it.
I wasn't the childish person out of it. Power rank the childishness?
I'll admit it. I was very childish.
Oh my God, he admitted it.
I was.
He admitted it.
It was unbecoming of me as a professional sports talk radio
If we'd like to
host.
power rank overall childishness on a daily basis.
Oh, no, not a daily basis of the show. I meant then. I meant then right there.
I didn't throw a stapler.
It was Lyman, it was me, then it was Owen.
Congratulations.
I only threw a stapler. I didn't throw it at anybody. It just happened to be somewhere around Owen. Again, guys.
We have to have National Stapler Day.
You guys got to understand.
And with the cameras on, let's see who's really responsible for throwing the stapler.
We don't do this from a stapler.
If I would have thrown a stapler at Owen, I would have had a black eye. So there's no way I could have thrown any object
What
at
a
Owen.
terrible thing to happen on National Throw a Stapler Day.
Let's bring in Matt Derry. He joins us right now. The Derry Brothers Guardians cast. He heard the knockdown dragout that happened at 6 a.m. this morning. You can hear that at 923thefan.com, as well as on the free Odyssey app that people are checking out, and they go, oh, my goodness gracious, the boys are so angry. The Guardians are tearing the family apart. Hello, Matt.
No, the power of social media, 92.3 The Fan on Instagram. I actually saw the video of Anthony telling you that it was bad luck.
Oh.
I missed the Owen brawl, but, I'm a huge Owen on the board fan, but, Anthony, come on, man.
Ooh,
Let
you have it. Let you have it.
What are we doing here, sports boy? What are we doing? This team's not talented enough. It doesn't matter if it's luck, losing two guys. Yeah, the Class A thing hurts. Yeah, the Ortiz thing hurts. But watch the last couple nights. They're not as good as Boston. Boston has more players. There's none of talent on this roster.
And that's with our run explosion of, 11 runs over the last 2 days.
How about that? I am very excited about Brian Rocchio. I think there's something there, and I'm happy to see that he's bounced back and looks like the October Rocchio from last year, but I don't think it's bad luck. This is the organization that went out and traded a platinum glover to get Ortiz, and he obviously is not a character person and is letting his teammates down. Class A, remember, was suspended once before for cheating, so there's a history there too. So they kind of made their own luck in terms of the players that they picked. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the cheating thing, that's interesting. Matt Derry joined us because we didn't even bring that up. Neither of us had brought that up previously, that he had been suspended. I guess what I tend to think, and I didn't mean to make it seem like the whole season is just, poor Guardians. They don't have a big margin for error. The reason they don't have a big margin for error, their payroll. We go over that to death. We're trying not to go over it at this point in time because this was such a bizarre situation. You have two players taken out to the point where people are speculating, is this a team-wide thing? Did the team know about it? What did they know and when did they know it? It was a grand conspiracy. And I want to say, fortunately, that hasn't been the case, but we don't know. We don't know anything.
No.
It's so weird that the guys are still suspended, but we can't say anything about it. The Guardians can't comment on it, but they lost their right to come back to the game. So as Ken says, it must be something very serious. But all I've seen are some videos that may indicate, and I'm like, all right, well, we did that with Malik Beasley. We did that with Terry Rozier. And so far, nothing's come up with them. In the NBA, you got Beasley, his people are saying the NBA told him the investigation's over, even though we have nothing official there. So all I was saying is that part of it seems to be bad luck. Any baseball team that loses their closer because of a gambling investigation, that would put a damper on their season and their ceiling, and to me, that would be considered bad luck.
Well, no, and there's no question that Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis, some of the other starting pitchers, when they lose their buddy or they lose somebody that is in front of them in terms of in the rotation or in the bullpen, you're asking a lot of Cade Smith. I don't blame Cade Smith for last night. I blame Stephen Vogt. I have no reason. I have no idea why he took Gaddis out of that game after 13 pitches to bring Cade in. I didn't like that. I didn't like that move. But regardless, Smith is not Class A. He's going to be good. He's very good. He had a great year last year. But yeah, it does hurt the team. You're not wrong about that. But I'm just saying, to say, it's just been bad luck. I know I just hear what you're saying now. But the bottom line is we talk about it on the podcast all the time. They're just not good enough. And that sucks. It sucks because the division's a joke. The first place team in this division, they're not that good either. Neither is the second place team, and the fourth and fifth place teams aren't good. Like, this was so winnable after last year. But yet, what did they do in the offseason? Paul Sewald? Jacob Junis, re-upping Hedges, that's not good enough.
Not good enough. Matt, my issue was, what's the next step? Because I'm more worried than I've been in the past. Like, they didn't make the postseason. Terry's last year. It's like, all right, it might be a little bit wonky here, but we got some guys, and now I'm going, man, I'm worried about the rotation. We've become accustomed to having top end pitching. I don't know if we have that right now. Bullpens. I mean, they come, they go. I'm never really worried one way or the other about it. I like what you just told me about Cade Smith's future. It does make me feel a little bit better. But then you get to the lineup, it's like, all right, well, I guess it's fine that Stephen Kwan's having himself a rough second half because it's his third in a row. That means he's more affordable to us now, but that's not an argument here. And it's all because of my guy who's 33 years old who took a massive discount for us, and that we're not going to get that again. We're not going to get that from anybody else, and I just don't want to feel like I've wasted any of his time here.
I think you bring up valid points, Ken. I don't think they know what's next. I think this ownership is just like a majority of those owners, and I've said this on your show before, that are not saying they're tanking, but they're waiting to see what happens at this time next year, where there's likely going to be a lockout. So even a team like Detroit did after making the playoffs last year, added with Gleyber Torres and Jack Flaherty. But did they go for it and go get Bregman? No, Boston did. Boston went out and cut that big check. The Mets did with Juan Soto. The Yankees did by adding Max Fried and others. Most of these owners are just kind of sitting there. So to sit here and go, oh man, Guardians fans are upset. They want to see action this offseason. I think the Guardians are going to tell you things like Anthony said before about the bad luck. I think they're going to say, we got a lot of young players that played this year. We're the youngest roster in the league for the third year in a row. They're going to throw that crap at you. But they didn't win enough baseball games. And of all these young guys that are playing, who are the ones that you know for sure are going to be part of the team next year at least in the lineup? You don't know that. We don't know who the catcher is going to be. Do we definitely know the shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, right fielder are going to be next year? No. We know it's Manzardo. We know it's Jose. It's Kwan. I think Rocchio is a piece. The rotation's going to be good. I'm happy about that. I like all the young arms. I like John Means coming up. I'm glad Cantillo's pitching. They've got some depth there, but they're the ones that have put out this awful offense for the last couple of years. And what are the answers? We still don't know. Oh, no, John Kenzie had a big night last night, so he's the future. He's been up and down from AAA for 3 years.
Well, it's, Lyman had mentioned, and my issue was not even an issue. My whole point that they should have done is Lyman thought he feels something big could happen this offseason. I don't. I feel it's batting down the hatches. I feel like next year is going to be a lot like this year until they get to the offseason of 2026 to 27, and they can figure out labor agreements or lack thereof, television agreements or lack thereof, and then they can go ahead and move forward. If that means David Blitzer comes in, if that means David Blitzer stays as a minority owner, I think that's when you're going to get your movement. But I just don't think there's going to be a lot said this year. I think they should do some things for goodwill this winter, but I think it's going to end up ringing hollow in the grand scheme of things when it comes to actually going out and getting players.
Well, when Anthony says something big, you talk about like a free agent signing?
I think he's talking about movement within the front office.
No, I just don't know what they could possibly do after this season where it seems like the trust has been eroded to some extent with the organization. And I know we talked about, Junior Caminero and how who saw that coming, but that is their job. Ken's buddy was telling them, well, it's still their job. Their job is to not make mistakes like that. Like, what trust do people have today in the organization, and how do they get excited about a team going into next season? It doesn't seem like they have an ace. We don't know if we have a closer, and we already know all the limitations in a lineup.
Let's just say Alex Bregman. I used him as an example before. Let's just say Alex Bregman opts out. And yes, he's a Boris guy, and he's got some weird, wonky contract with the Red Sox where he can opt out every year. So let's say he says, I'm cashing in. Maybe the Red Sox make a run in the postseason. He has a big postseason, and he says, I'm cashing it. I'm cashing out. I'm going to go be a free agent and hopefully cash back in somewhere else. He is a right-handed bat that would be so perfect for this lineup. Now, you'd probably have to go to Jose and go, hey, Jose, can you do me a favor? Can you move to second base, or can you split time? Whatever it would be, because Bregman's a third baseman. Maybe you ask Bregman to play second. I don't know. But that's like a right-handed bat that you've been dying to get. Now, I don't know if that would happen, but it would take money. We've heard the organization say, we're threading the needle, or we really like some of these young guys. We don't want to block the young guys. How much longer do I have to watch Gabriel Arias play every day? Go get some guys. If you have to make a deal, and deal from your strength, which has been your pitching, go do that. Make a move and go get somebody, but they're not going to. Not with this labor stuff that's coming and their bad TV deal they have. And it's not happening. So,
Matt, I said the only chance is, because I've seen it, 2 other instances. You tell me if I'm using dated material here. But the year that they sold, baseball gave every team money for Bam. They went and spent money. The year they sold Sports Time Ohio, they went and spent the money. If they get a TV deal somehow done, then do you think they would, for the third time, put that money back into the team?
I would hope so. Yes, I would. Look, I don't know Paul Dolan's situation. I know there was a lot of reports about, well, now that his dad has passed away, maybe he's going to move the goalpost a little bit, hand it over to the new guy sooner because he wanted to win one for his father, and that was nice. But who knows? He doesn't talk. They don't talk. They are so secretive about everything. Is Arias day-to-day IL? Guys get hurt and they say nothing. There's very little transparency with that organization, and it's too bad because all they've really done is win. I mean, there's no bigger fan of this team than me. But they're not very transparent. What's the plan? I don't know. I just know there's a lot of young guys on the team, and you hope that next year a few of them blossom and go from their 24 year to their 25 age year and really hit, because you can't finish second to last in OPS and expect to be in the postseason. So it's a miracle they're only a game under 500 with that run differential. It's a miracle.
Matt, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. All the very best to you and yours, and having a civil discussion with us about this.
Anytime, guys. Ken, keep up the great work on Fox 8 as well.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Anthony, are you calling football games?
Did I call a historic game or what on Saturday? Thank you very much. Team ending a 21-game losing streak.
I need highlights, please. Put it on.
Roger Brown over here.
And that should
Roger Brown.
Do it.
Oh, my God.
First down, Kent State. And history here at Dick Stadium, because not since September 16th, 2023, the Flashes will get one in the win column.
Yes.
Audio courtesy of ESPN and Anthony Lima of the Sports Baton. Matt, thank you.
Peace.
Matt Derry Brothers Guardians cast. Oh, that was civil.
Almost nice. Too nice.
Yeah,
by the way,
too nice.
That serves you right, Merrimack. You think you're coming to fabled Dick Stadium and you're going to just easily, summarily dismiss Kent State?
I don't think they thought that at all.
Merrimack.
I watched that game. I thought they played tough.
Merrimack brings it out, and he has a burst. Huge return. Still on his feet. To the house. Touchdown. The realest Clark.
Shows you what, that he is the realest.
That's his name? Yeah, DeRealis Clark on the all-name team. 100 yards.
Sometimes it's better to be tough than it is to be talented. The Cavs are finding that out. And I know he's everyone's favorite coach, and it bothers me to pick against him, but not everybody can make the playoffs. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
Anthony Lima, full.
Gent has the right lane blocked with slowdowns from Medina Road. You have a crash block in the left lane 77 North at Pleasant Valley with slowdowns from Royalton. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
When there's news that affects the Cleveland sports fan, Daryl Ryder is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Joe Flacco.
When you have a guy like Jerry on the other side who can really, we have a lot of confidence, can win against anybody, it can open up all kinds of possibilities.
This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns.
This penalty's declined.
92.3 The Fan.
9 o'clock, you got at least one thing in common with Steelers fans. Also, I did my predictions for the AFC and the NFC. Do you care?
You know what? Yes. We got to hold you accountable, Kenny.
I don't think you do. I don't think you give a damn. I know Owen doesn't care.
I've never cared about anything more in my life, Ken.
You know what I care about? The Cavaliers. I care about them being taken seriously. Because apparently they're a very talented team, arguably the most talented team in the East. Ain't no one afraid of them, according to Zach Lowe.
And then you look at the East, and it's like, who are we really scared of? Like, I don't think the Bucks can win the East. I don't think the Bucks are a contender. They do have the best player in the conference and a top 3 to 4 player in the NBA. You think Giannis is scared of Orlando? Giannis isn't scared of them. Detroit? Giannis is not scared of them. Cleveland? Speaking of things that happened, Max Strus broke a bone in his foot. He's out 3 to 4 months. Hey, every little thing matters. I think they really clicked into place when they had a roving shooter like Max Strus on the floor last year. He missed the first part of last season, too. That could be a big deal. Cleveland? Anyone scared of Cleveland? I mean, they'll win the East this year. Probably they'll win the most games in the East. They'll win the East in the regular season, I mean. Playoffs, everyone see what happened. They're better than the Bucks. They should beat the Bucks in the playoff series. But I'm just talking Giannis. You think Giannis is Jared Allen. He tries to block my shot at the rim. I'm so scared. I mean, Jared Allen has gotten him a few times, but you know what I mean. The pressure on these two teams, by the way, Cleveland and New York, this is the most pressure a Cleveland team has faced since LeBron was there.
Audio courtesy of Zach Lowe on The Ringer. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Zach Lowe. That's fairly concerning there because he's right. Going back to the time that I got mad at Giannis Antetokounmpo for eating his dinner during the post-game press conference because it was a sign that he doesn't take you seriously. And that was a few years ago. I understand that. But you know what? The problem is that you really haven't grown in toughness from that. And, I am a believer, and you and I have argued about it. I think you can naturally become tougher. I think I think you can reach a point and you decide which way you're going to go. And if they've reached their point and they decided they're just not going to be that team, then this is going to go down as arguably the most disappointing collection of Cavaliers or collection of Cleveland sports teams that we have seen. If they go out there, you are the best team in the East. You are the best. And I know Max Strus is hurt, and that has an effect. But even with Max Strus out, Tone, stop me at any time, please. Even with Max Strus out, you should be the top of the heap in the Eastern Conference. What's holding you back? What's holding Cavs fans back from saying we're going to the finals this year? Last 3 years of not being tough.
And that would go down. Proof of playoff concept.
I have so much respect for Donovan Mitchell. It's not that I disrespect certain aspects of this team. I have a lot of respect for Donovan Mitchell. I have a lot of respect for Kenny Atkinson. Good. I have a lot of respect for these guys. But damn it, if you don't cash in on this, I'm not saying the championships don't fall off the trees. But if you can't get to the finals right now with the injuries that are in the East, with the talent that you have, with the budding talent that you have, hello, Evan Mobley, if you can't get to the East, then forget about the 90s Indians. You want to talk about bad luck? Bad luck is definitely applicable in baseball. This would be... At least those teams got to the World Series. This would be the most disappointment I have felt. 2019 Browns? Because, I expected to be there with LeBron. And he's right. This is the most pressure they've had since LeBron. We are getting to the point where it's hey, man, which way are you guys going to go? Is Donovan going to be here after all this, or is he going to finally... At over 30, is he going to approach getting out of here? Is Evan going to finally, and that's the biggest question, is Evan going to reach his maximum potential? Is he going to be he's already a defensive player of the year, is he going to be in the MVP conversation? Is it too soon to be in the MVP conversation? Because we're going on how many years now with Evan? What year is this?
This will be year 5.
I think this is year 5. it's getting time to put up or shut up here, buddy. Like, we're going to have to figure out if you're going to be in the conversation with the greats of this league in this generation, or we're just always going to be wanting and waiting for more.
Well, I want to make sure, though, obviously...
I'm not trying to talk tough. I'm just being honest.
LeBron made it seem easy to just go to the finals every year. And even though the East...
Because he's the greatest player of the generation,
Sure.
arguably history.
And even though the East is very, very down as of today, we'll see how these teams actually look. The Knicks are the team I'm really interested in, because I think that I'm one of those that actually thinks Mike Brown could be really good with them. And they needed a change. Their starting lineup is very formidable, and I gotta say, I've seen Jalen Brunson against Donovan Mitchell, 2 times in the past, and that's gone Jalen Brunson's way. So I am nervous about the Knicks. I know a lot of Cavs fans, I don't really hear them talk about the Knicks that much. It's always been Boston the last few years, but I think it's going to come down to them and the Knicks. Detroit's going to be better, but I still think in Giannis, I'm sure Giannis isn't afraid of the Cavs, but Giannis can't beat the Cavs 1-on-5.
Because when I go back to the old Cavs, like, hey, it's Michael Jordan. It's going to be hard to beat Michael Jordan. When I go to this generation or the previous generation of the Cavs with LeBron, first time around, hey, you know what? That's an older team in San Antonio. That's an underrated dynasty in San Antonio. Tim Duncan's in his prime. He's one of the best to do it. He's got great players around him. I'm finding different reasons there. I could have said Kobe. I could have said a lot of things if I wanted to there. With the second iteration of the Cavaliers, it's like, hey, man, Golden State's one of the greatest teams that has ever been assembled. Steph Curry's going to be a Hall of Famer. Damn it, man. Like, am I going to sit there and say if they don't get to the... Like, I'm not asking for a championship here. I'm not demanding a championship.
But you're saying finals or bust? Is that it? So it's not just good enough to get past where they got last few years?
No, I don't think so, because the only thing I can think of when I look at these names that you just gave me, you mentioned the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody 20 years from now going to be mad? Like, Jalen Brunson was a dog, but was he like of the upper echelon guys?
No. He has a chance to be
Tyrese Halliburton,
a cult hero in New York.
Yes, Tyrese Halliburton has the dog in him. Is he one of those upper echelon guys? No. I don't think so.
No, he's not a top.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is he one of those top upper echelon guys? So yes, and that's where it would be acceptable. Like, I could look at it in the end and go, hey, they went into the finals in 2026, but they ran into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and in 20 years, we'd be looking at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going, hey, he's the player of the generation. It's no fault in losing to Michael Jordan. It's no fault in losing to Steph Curry. It's no fault in losing to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But if I'm losing to Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton and so on and so forth, or the Orlando Magic,
Orlando's interesting.
That doesn't hit. You're going, what failed then? That's a 64-win team. What failed? Oh, people were complaining about their toughness. That's... No city wants to be called that. Certainly not a city like Cleveland. Leon Bibb always used the term a fist fight city. That's a fist fight city. No town with that reputation is ever going to accept something like that. So it would be the most disappointed I've ever been as a Cleveland sports fan. And that's saying something for a lot of people.
2021 Browns? The year after they went to the playoffs and lost to the Chiefs. Was it bad luck with Baker?
Let me come back to that at another time. Hopefully not today. Coming up in 5 minutes, you have at least one thing in common with Steelers fans. You might not even know it. Ken Carman, Anthony Lyman, take us with you to work in the free Odyssey app. I want you to know this, though.
#1 Texas this past weekend. Ohio State #1 in a regular season top 25 poll for the first time since November of 2015. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Talk sports deep into the Cleveland night. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Wow, this is a great event.
Oh.
It is a great event. Win a pair of tickets.
Tell them what's coming up.
Well, tell them, Kenny. And then I'll give these great tickets away.
Okay.
Tell them.
Whoa, what's coming up?
Yeah.
What was preview?
Kenny has his breakdown for the 2025 NFL football season. I better hear a Most Improved Player and a Comeback Player of the Year award winner. Win a pair of tickets to the 27th Annual Taste of the Browns, September 15th, Huntington Bank Field, to benefit the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. This is an awesome event. I've been there a few times. It is a who's who of Cleveland luminaries, dignitaries,
I've never been there.
VIPs. Just enter the word BID, BID, by the end of the hour, 923thefan.com to get registered to win. Get tickets at greaterclevelandfoodbank.org. It's all from Sports Radio and 92.3. The Fan is a great cause as well.
Never been there.
Why haven't you been there?
Because I'm a great big fat person.
Why haven't we been there together? Hobnobbing. You know I like to hobnob, Kenny.
I don't like being with you when you hobnob.
There's some of the best food in the city at this event, by the way. So tickets are still available.
I don't like being with Tone when he hobnobs. First off, you walk way too fast to go to places.
But we'll be eating.
And second of all,
we'll be hanging out and eating.
God, you bounce around. God, I just hate you. You're so annoying.
Do you have a problem? I've been to some of these taste of events, Kate. Do you have a problem standing and eating?
Yeah.
Because that is oftentimes what happens at these events. You stand, you eat, you drink.
As long as they don't have a problem with me tossing it up in the air and catching it in my mouth.
I think that's a big part
I don't like
of it.
standing and eating anywhere. I got a problem eating in front of people as it is.
Yeah.
So, no.
Especially before Browns games.
Go ahead and make your jokes.
No,
tell everybody what I did. Tell everybody what I did.
I actually sympathize with Kenny on this one because Kenny,
what?
You know, you're working you're doing a shift when you could also work in one of your meals for the day, and sometimes have to turn your back on everybody and go yum 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 yum. Because it would be weird facing people eating, sitting down while they're coming up and talking to you.
Is the food falling out of your mouth when you're doing it?
I feel like, okay, so we do the preview. I hate you. We're going to need Keith in here. So Keith, well, he's not here yet. It's amazing. He gets a bigger job now. He shows up later. It's a way to keep it. So he made a mention of this because Keith actually does work really hard. And he was at the preview show the one day, and this was last year. And you're in a big open space at the Cardiac Club. And there's food there, and they're very, very nice. They go, you eat whatever you want. The ladies who work there are very, very, very nice people. Actually, everybody who works there, the ushers and everybody, they're all very nice. And you get done at 11 o'clock, and I'm feeling a little peckage. And so, I'm going to go over and I'm going to eat. But I don't want to be I am a very private person when it comes to eating because I just don't think anybody looks good eating. And I think I look especially bad when I'm eating. So I do this thing where there's this big, long couch that's next to us, and you can sit on like either side of that couch, and one faces the window. So I get the food, and then I drag over one of the little stands, and I put it next to me so I could sit my plate there so I'm not dropping it all over myself. And I look out the window, and I eat so I'm not facing anybody, so I'm like not on display of eating.
And there's a nice view, right?
Yes, it's a very nice view of watching the people.
It's a pleasant eating experience.
This is at Huntington Bank Field.
This is at Huntington Bank Field, yes. And so already they're commenting on the live stream.
I mean,
already it's going to hell.
You're already at an NFL field. They've got the little blue medical pop-up tent. Have them bring one up to the Cardiac Club.
It'd be an amazing idea.
Pop the tent up and you go in there and eat.
And Keith happened to look over, and it just looks pathetic that I'm sitting there by myself staring out the window like I'm a kid in timeout. Like I'm the guy at the end of the Blair Witch Project.
No recess today.
Eating by myself, looking out the window, and I'm just trying to get out of there because I think that everybody's going to look over. You're already at this, like, it's not like a stage, but it's a big table, and immediately people look over when they walk in. So they see you, they see Gerard, they see Baskin, Joe, if he's in town, will walk by and do the interview there, which is great because then it takes all the focus on anything.
And you don't have
else.
to worry. You can eat lonely in peace.
So I can eat my loneliness in peace. And I know I look pathetic, but it's better than facing everybody and putting myself on display. Here's a great big fat person, radio guy eating in front of you. Like, I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I face the other way. And so on Sunday at the Cardiac Club at 11 o'clock, when the preview show's done, I'm going to go and I'm going to eat. And I'm going to face the other
way.
way.
What if somebody taps you on the shoulder and wants to ask you?
Someone will now.
Hey, Kenny, what do you think about Shedeur Sanders?
I'll answer the question. I don't get bothered by that.
So what you're telling me is if I want to see
lips smacking
kickoff, make sure I'm in before 1. If I want to see warm-ups, be in before noon. But if I want to see Ken Carman on full display, make it there by 11.
And if you want to see potential, cardiac arrest, you go to the Cardiac Club.
What are you trying to say?
It's perfect.
Now, hold on now. My heart is in good shape. Go to hell.
I do notice, I catch myself all the time when I eat, I got to be really careful.
I got to stop looking at the YouTube thing. There's a bunch of people now making J.D. Vance jokes, and I'm just not going to stand for it right now.
I do think it's harder than people understand when you're trying to have conversation at one of these things, but you're also eating. You got a plate. You got good food. Some of the best food in the city. It's really hard to have a conversation and not spit out your food while you're talking.
By the way, I-90
take great care.
I-90 on their way in is just terrible right now on the west side. Apparently, there's a water main break, so call your bosses and
good news is
let them know.
Good news is 90 for the next 2 years. We're going to be under some construction on the west side of Cleveland.
No, sorry to hear that.
That's why Kenny moved.
Not sorry to hear that.
That's why Kenny moved.
It's the south side of Cleveland
to avoid it. No, I'm talking 90 west.
What's 90
What
west?
they did is they took 4 lanes. It's already down to 3, and those 3 lanes are itty bitty lanes. So
I think one of the lines is painted on the grass.
Right? Yeah, you don't have the Cosmo Kramer lines.
It's not a 4-lane pleasure cruise.
This is not luxury. You got to really pay attention.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
So when you're on your phone, your car starts drifting. You don't want to be doing that.
Okay, good. So Sunday, if you come to the Cardiac Club and you see me at 11, you'll just see the back side of me. You will not see the front side of me.
And Kenny will be more than willing if you give him a tap
I'm not
on the
bothered
shoulder.
by that. It's part of the job.
Give it a tippity tap.
People always say, "Well, I don't mean to bother you." No
Kenny,
one's bothering me.
What's going on with the Judkins situation?
I'm always on the clock.
What's going on? Oh, what do you got there?
I don't have anything. People ask me that. People ask me that at football practice all the time. I'm walking out to the field. Ken, what's going on? Guys, if I knew anything, I'd tell you. If I knew anything at all, I'd tell you. I don't know nothing. I'm not annoyed by you guys asking me at all. It's just I'm starting to get as frustrated as Lime. I go, well, if there's no charges in the NFL, why can't we just bring him in? He's not going to be ready to go. They had Albert Breer on yesterday. He's like, he's not going to be
playing this
They
week.
asked him somehow if they got him signed yesterday or today, maybe he would be ready to go. They asked if he would be possibly ready to go. It's week 1. He's not.
You got to know.
Shape.
Running backs also got to know protections. They got to know when they
don't know none of
get
that.
your quarterback killed.
Here's Albert Breer.
It feels like it would be. Yeah, it feels like that'd be a little much. Obviously, he was around in the spring, so he has some baseline for the offense, but I would think you'd probably want to give him a little bit longer to ramp him up. If for nothing else, then he needs to get in football shape. Whatever he's been doing over the last, month and a half, it doesn't necessarily replace going and getting knocked around and getting your body ready to play football.
Listen, I'm sure he hasn't been sitting in the Cardiac Club gorging himself on roast beef with his back turned to everybody, so he is not to be seen gorging himself on roast beef. But I think he's trying to keep himself in decent enough shape, but he ain't in no game shape. But if he were to sign today, I mean, week 4?
Boy,
week
that
3?
sounds more like
at
it.
the earliest.
I know running back.
Earliest.
People think you can just go out there and run the football, but
in so many ways, yeah. But if you just go out there and you start running the football, that's where hamstrings become a problem, and then you lose them for even longer. I'm looking at week 3, week 4. If he signs today, it's week 3, week 4. That's where he is. Sorry, guys. Like, you're missing a bulk of the season now because of whatever the holdup here is. And he put himself in this situation. So I don't mean to talk about luck here with another football team because I don't think it's luck. I mean, you made your own decision. That's the way it goes. But I know you've been frustrated. You've been coming increasingly frustrated with the Browns on it. I'm frustrated with all of it.
Well, I just want to make sure.
I'm frustrated he put himself in that position.
I don't know.
I'm frustrated that Trevion Henderson seems to score a touchdown every time he even comes near the football. That's frustrating. He's got odds for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I hope you know that.
Everybody's just already operating under the assumption that he's the better running back now. And it's because Judkins has not been available.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you got one guy who's not in trouble. You got another guy who was in trouble. One guy, again, is a highlight reel throughout the entire preseason. His top-end speed blows everybody's doors off. I haven't got a chance to see anything with Quinshon Judkins because he's either been in trouble or he ain't been to camp. So I'm sorry, but easily Trevion Henderson, for that matter, any Ohio State Zeke Elliott, if he hadn't retired, would be ahead of Quinshon Judkins right now.
Daniel Boom Herron
is ahead of Quinshon Judkins right now until he can prove different.
Yeah,
but this whole thing about him playing on Sunday, I'd be shocked.
Well,
and I would think it's irresponsible to him, the team, everybody, if you were to play him on Sunday.
I think it would be. I don't even think. I know it sounds good because he's a running back. Our running back room seems like it's probably one of the worst in football this weekend. I mean, I hate to say that, but Judkins would be a big part of it. Now, yesterday, the Pierre Strong news came down, right? And then people were like, "Oh, does that mean?"
I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing when they did the Pierre Strong move. I went, "Oh, we got to pay attention." And then, of course, the bots came out and the fake accounts came out, and so you had to be careful about who you were following. Because immediately after they let go of Pierre Strong, it was, here come the fake accounts.
Well, they're just trying to get, let's be honest, they're trying to get me or you or Mary Kay or Daryl to run with something crazy.
If they got Daryl, I'd love it.
But that's what I wanted to say. Is some of it still funny?
All you people who run fake accounts, if you get Daryl, I love you. It's the usual
suspects. There's one in particular that has been getting people, and I can't believe he's still getting people. It's been
Kevin Grandier?
It's been a year. Okay, it's like that, but it's been a year and a half. It's been a year and a half of this other dude that works for some fake NFL site, and people keep falling for it. And he's got.
I only knew about Kevin Grandier.
No, I'll show you
the non-real guy.
But there's like 600 people. They're trying to get me or you, or they're trying to get Mary Kay or Delaney Dawson. They're trying to get us to fall for it, and we're not going to fall for it. We are not going to fall for it. We are real journalists.
You have at least one thing in common with Steelers fans, and you guys might not even know that. And I can't make them all make the playoffs, no matter how much you love this coach. Ken Carmen, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan. Extend Technologies in Broadview Heights. XTENDAV.com. That's XTENDAV.com. Get to Extend. I'm going to Extend today. I'm going to go see Tony today. Going to go see Tony, Nick, the whole family at Extend Technologies and see what they can do for your home. Friends, you are going to love what they can do for your home at Extend Technologies. I'm not just talking about indoor. I'm talking about outdoor as well. 360 patios that you can use 365 days of the year. That's right. And you get all the lighting that you could possibly want.
rankings. Buckeyes jumping 2 spots after beating the previous number 1 Texas 14-7. Ohio State is number 1 in the regular season top 25 for the first time since November of 2015. Don't miss Lee Brown's preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
You guys got one thing in common with Steelers fans. That coming up in moments. I got my predictions for this year. I know you don't care, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, Tone.
Let's
Even though you said you cared. Do you really care?
You had one that actually surprised me.
All right, here we go.
You had a bold prediction.
Everybody making the playoffs.
A team missing the playoffs.
Everybody,
I didn't think you'd have.
Everybody making the playoffs in the AFC. Ready? Here's your winners. Of the North, Baltimore. East, Buffalo. South, Houston. West, Kansas City. My wild card teams in the AFC. Chargers, Denver, New England. I'm going under
like Drake May, huh?
There is a principle that like 4 teams bow out and 4 new teams jump into the playoffs every year. So I kind of want to go on that. And so it's like, man, New England's really invested. I do like Drake May. I like Vrabel. I really like Vrabel. Somebody's got to get in there. So I decided, I don't have faith in Cincinnati. And I don't have faith in Pittsburgh. I think they can both be 9-8 football teams, and then that's about it. In the NFC, this is where things got squirrely for everybody. I got Green Bay winning the North, Philadelphia out of the East, Tampa Bay out of the South, San Francisco out of the West, which I think that's going to be a big fight to the middle. I think one team makes it out of the West. Then I have Washington, Minnesota, Chicago as my wild cards. I am betting big against, I know he's America's favorite coach. I'm betting big against Dan Campbell losing his coordinators. I'm betting against age. And I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to bet on Caleb Williams. You wanted me to make it spicy, I make it spicy. I have very little faith in Caleb Williams. So I'm going to put it to this. They went out and they've got you weapons galore. They've done everything they can to augment your offense. If you can't make the play, I'm asking to make the playoffs. If you can't make the playoffs, I'm out on Caleb Williams. They went and got you the most highly sought after offensive coordinator that money could buy. They went out there. I mean, you look at their depth chart, Tone. Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, Devin Duvernay's fine. Tight ends, you got Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet. I mean, you got guys there. You got dudes. DeAndre Swift can still get it done, but I think that your running back room would still be a little bit like, but like that's where you're at right now. Offensive line, they went out and they got free agency help on offensive line. Now, I've disagreed. Zagura and I got into this during the draft. We were talking about the Bears because I had said, hey, guys, do you have that much faith in Cornelius Lucas? Do you have that much faith in anybody else that you brought in? You really don't, because you know that really good offensive linemen are not free agents. They don't let them do that. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you do get lucky and you get a guy, you get a hell of a hand. But usually a veteran, they're not that much of a help. And you bring them in and you put them in there as starters, they don't let elite offensive linemen get away, especially with the dearth of great offensive line play that we see now. So I'm going to bet on the Bears. I'm not betting on anybody, but I'm gonna put it on the Bears because I'm gonna go. You either make the playoffs this year, or I never talk about you again, and I don't take Caleb Williams seriously ever again. I'm gonna put him over everything in my body is telling me to take the Lions over the Bears. Football guy, John.
I know it's a tough team. The Bears are so tough.
I know.
To ever believe in. Right now, it's just our whole lives. That
they've
uniform.
Never been a quarterback team. They've never been a quarterback team. It's always been Urlacher, defense. Hey, they're going to go out there and it's going to be car wrecks and they're going to win at 16-10 and they're going to go deep into the playoffs. If they were going to be a good team, this is the first time we've ever really. I know there was some Jay Cutler in there, but this is really the first time in our lives we're like, okay, this guy's number 1 overall. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire and go ahead and do it. Did the same thing with Justin Herbert. And then when you lose Rashawn Slater, there's going to be a lot of pressure on that young man. You notice who I left out? I left the Jaguars out. Don't have a lot of faith in Trevor Lawrence.
Well, we love that. We obviously love that. The only other thing, the 49ers are so interesting because their whole thing has been system quarterback on a deal that is very affordable so they could surround that guy with all the talent in the world. Instead, it's the opposite. Now McCaffrey's been injured, and he's been a big part of making that whole formula work, and now the quarterback got paid, and they've lost talent. They have lost so much talent.
He got paid, but he got paid decent enough. I don't think he got paid an amount that would be prohibitive towards
what
they're trying to do. I mean, he makes a couple of $100 million, but I don't think it's anything to get a snit over. I don't think he got paid that much.
It wasn't $50 million a year?
Yeah, you get $50 million a year, but isn't that the going rate?
Brock Purdy. I mean, that's the magic of the 49ers was having the quarterbacks that you didn't have to pay. That's just Brock Purdy, is he in that stratosphere? Is he that good?
265 is still a lot. I thought it was more in the neighborhood of 230. I got that.
He got the deal that, way more than Baker Mayfield always wanted.
Well, honestly, when it comes, I don't have them going any further in the playoffs, to be honest with you, because I like Jonathan Gannon. I don't like Kyler Murray. I fear that I don't like Seattle's defense for the first time, I think, since I was a child. I think I don't like Seattle's defense. Personnel, I think they're wanting. Scheme, Mike McDonald, he's got big pipes. But I don't know if that's the type of... I was disappointed by them last year and their defense last year. The Rams are brittle. And I feel that this might be a year where 9-8, 8-9, somewhere in there. Like, they've been 10-7 the last couple of years. Like, it's not been the juggernaut Rams like we've kind of known them to be. So if they have a couple of games that don't go their way, they're not making the playoffs. So here we go. AFC, I got Baltimore over Kansas City. The NFC, I got Green Bay over Philadelphia. Super Bowl, I will tell you guys this partly because I cannot stomach a Ravens Super Bowl. I'm taking Green Bay over.
Okay, so
Baltimore.
I like that you just didn't go chalk and everything like that. I did ask during the break.
Emotion there.
I asked Owen in the other room. I said, "Did we get it wrong on the Micah Parsons deal?" And the only reason I said that was, obviously, like everybody else, we ripped Jerry Jones, ripped the Cowboys for the deal. And then all of a sudden we got news about his back and how he's going to be having to get shot up before games. And
I was
just already at his age to have
not guaranteed. He just says if the discs are still bulging at game time, get an epidural.
Well, wait a minute. I've gotten shots before, and it's taken them discs right down.
I know. I'm just saying that
just run out and get an epidural a couple hours before you got to do something majorly physically strenuous.
Packers fans cannot love hearing that.
Well, no one loves hearing that.
What time
right
do you get your epidural
started
before you eat over in the cardiac club?
I remember the one time I told you I got it done and there was nothing but 20-year-old nurses there and I was butt naked, laid out on my stomach, and I just went, "I'm sorry, ladies." They go, "No, we see it all the time. There's going to be a lot uglier than you." They were very nice about it.
That's very sweet.
I felt terrible about that. That was years ago, though. So I got Green Bay over Baltimore. MVP, Jalen Hurts. Defensive Player of the Year, Willie Anderson. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ashton Jenney. And Defensive Player of the Year, I got Malachi Starks from the Ravens. A lot of people. I got a lot of Carson Schlesinger. I got a lot of guys called, which I did not know he was named Captain America by his teammates. I did not get that. I'm sorry. That was lost on me. Whoever corrected me on that or ever told me about that, thank you very much. I had no idea. Man. Warden sees it on Twitter. He said Captain America definitely won a Defensive Player of the Year. Sorry to tell you. I was like, I don't know who that is.
It's almost impossible.
A lot of people said Carson Schlesinger.
For a linebacker? What big stats is he going to have?
Well, he's a linebacker for a team that's not expected to be that good. Now, their defense can still be a top 5 defense, and you can be bad as long as your offense is putrid.
It's going to be Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's going to be the reason.
Exactly. I think that he would just be overshadowed. I think the Ravens to me are a 14-15 win football team in the regular season. So if they're 14-15 win, the media votes on this, if the media is voting on this, they're going to go with the rookie on the really good football team. They're not going to go with the rookie on the team that won 6-7 games. And that's me being generous if I say 6-7 games to a lot of you guys.
Well, Jared Verse, the linebacker, won it last year. Micah Parsons in 21, but we don't really...
I thought about him heavily. I really thought about him heavily.
Shaq Leonard in 2018.
Those aren't middle linebackers, though, right?
Well, Jared Verse,
a middle linebacker is going to be... His stat is total tackles. So it's going to have to be like 200 total tackles.
Well, I did hear somebody in the media here yesterday.
Unless you get some picks in there.
Somebody said, which is that well, we talk about luck, unluck. I mean, unlucky that for the linebackers.
Right.
A lot of that is tip balls and whatever. But I saw somebody said, I think they upgraded at linebacker. And I'm like, JOK was amazing. And already he's going to have a better season than JOK already. Man, that I get his teammates absolutely love him, and the tape looks great to start out. But to say somebody who has not played in an NFL game yet, it's not like he was a top 5 pick. He's already better than JOK. That seems a little ridiculous.
He's going to have to be more than just better than him on the field.
So to
beat JOK, you're going to have to also be the leader of the defense.
I go back to this. Remember, Jared Verse won it last year, Rookie of the Year. That was for a team that made the playoffs with the Rams.
Yep.
Will Anderson won it 2 years ago. That was a team that made the playoffs with the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Sauce Gardner won it. That team, I believe, was 7-10 in 2022. Micah Parsons won it on a 12-win football team in 2021 with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are a roller coaster. Before that, Chase Young. Before that, Nick Bosa. So most of your players are on really good football teams that go to the playoffs, that have more national exposure.
I can also
to
get
the voting
sacks,
public.
most of them.
Because I'll full on admit, and guys, I don't know everything I'm looking at either. Some of this is for bleeps and grins. But when I can tell you this, there's plenty of people who vote for this stuff when it comes to the AP. They don't know what the hell they're looking at. There's guys in Cleveland media that still don't know what the hell they're looking at, and they claim they've been watching Browns football for 40 years. I'm not going to name names, but you can go ahead and just wonder yourself.
Now, I will say, like, the opportunities will be there for him, for the rookies in general, for the Browns. They get to step right in, and they're going to be dependent on. I mean, the green dot right off the bat, like, for a guy.
Well, the guys that have done this in that position, the last one was Luke Kuechly in 2012.
So let me ask you this.
Right? So it's Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis, Gerard Mayo. If he becomes one of those guys, then yeah.
That's awesome.
13 years ago, for crying out loud.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize it was that long ago. He's been retired as well.
Years.
If Carson Schlesinger does get like Defensive Player of the Year, that means your defense has been a top 5 defense. All right? That means that Miles would have had to play well. Honestly, that probably means that Mason Graham would have had to play well. That means that also Alex Wright would have to play. You know where I'm going with this right now. Because let me get that audio set up for everybody. I asked everybody a specific question on Around the AFC North. You know damn well where I'm going with this one here. That I asked them, do they believe that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are good at their jobs? And Bob Haney, Mo Egger, and Chris Muller all answered it. Survey said. Bob Haney, Mo Egger, Chris Muller, Kevin Stefanski, and Andrew Berry. Do you think that they are good at what they do?
Yeah, I think so. With Stefanski, 2-time Coach of the Year. Andrew Berry, I don't know who. Do we blame the Haslams for the Deshaun Watson debacle? I guess.
I think when people from outside look at the Browns and point to their issues and wonder what's going on there, the questions and the criticisms are more about ownership than anybody on the sideline or in the GM's.
I do not really think Berry is. I think Stefanski is bad at the job for which he is actually doing, which is being a head coach. He's the head coach of a franchise owned by Jimmy Haslam, so who knows, if you put him in a more stable situation with a less volatile compound in the owner's box, maybe you'd get more.
I thought that was a strong response by Chris Muller. I think there's been obviously some games that I haven't agreed with, but I think for the most part he's done his best to manage a football game and take care of his defense and not just be a play caller. That's something I think is kind of lost on Chris, but that's going to be me just disagreeing with Chris, and Chris isn't here to defend himself on that, so that's all I'm going to say about that, because I think game management, some of these guys, I think you see it with Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. and we're getting nitty-gritty here with this, I think you see this with Shane Steichen there where he gets caught calling plays instead of being an actual head coach of a football team, and it costs his football team. I think Jonathan Gannon, when you go a defensive guy, I think he's done a very good job. Talking about those two guys from Philadelphia, I think he's done a very good job of trying to manage his football team as well as making sure that the guys on offense take care of what his defense is so they can get themselves to maximize whatever talent they have. And I go back to 2020 with Kevin Stefanski, and even 2023, even though they had to kind of rob Peter to pay Paul because they didn't have a running game then, is that he did his very damnedest to take care of his defense to make sure that they had enough room and enough gas to go out there and finish the job. Because you can call plays all you want, and you can rack up yards all you want, but if you don't care about managing your defense, you're going to find yourself in trouble. But let me point this out, that if we do get to the end of the year and Carson Schlesinger were to be your defensive rookie of the year, and then I got Miles in the top 3 defensive player of the year. I got Mace. That means Mason Graham will have had to play well. That means we probably should have gotten an entire season out of Denzel Ward. I know Denzel Ward ain't his guy. But then Alex Wright will have had to play well. Isaiah McGuire would have had to play well. Aiden Huntington would have had to play well. Those are feathers in the cap for Andrew Berry. Because I think it bothers a lot of Browns fans the way it bothers a lot of Steelers fans, where if you ask anywhere else that isn't a Pittsburgh fan, they go, yeah, Mike Tomlin, good coach, top 10 coach. Off the top of their head, top 10 coach, top 10 guy. And I found myself fit to be tied yesterday afternoon where I'm seeing, yeah, Andrew Berry, top 10 general manager. Swear to God, hand to God. Yeah, Kevin Stefanski, top 10 coach. He's, they got an owner there that's goofing around, and they got to deal with all that. Like, some of this is blamed right on you. And Lima, you, me, and Jason, we've known it. Zach knows it. It's kind of been different the way that other people think it is around the league. But if you get a guy like a rookie in Carson Schlesinger, I'd have to believe you're a better, because your offense is going to try to line up and run the football. We'll see how good they are. I'd have to believe you're a 6 to 8 win football team if you got the defensive rookie of the year at middle linebacker on your team. That keeps people employed. And that means it's a good draft for Andrew Berry, and that means you're going to keep people around.
Finally.
Don't get mad at me for telling you the bad news, if that's how you take it. 216-474-0092. A goal so sad, you'll find it insulting. That, and it's a shame to see a fan base turn on a legend like this. It's next on The Fan. KC Roofing. You know,
Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Back of the Fan. It is a goal so sad you will find it insulting. And I don't want you to find it insulting because I think that when we play that audio in hearing 3 different guests during Around the AFC North, and they blame your owner, and owners are blamed all the time. But I don't know why I'm just had my breath taken away. We blame owners all the time. It's an easier target. It's where the buck's supposed to stop, but it's all the same thing. It's for Watson. So everybody's like, well, especially if somebody says what they tied his hand around his back, talking about Andrew Berry about that. It's like, well, no, knowing what Lyman and I and a few others here know, and we've said many times, it's like, well, there's an idea that's pushed out there, and then that idea was put into effect, and everybody operated in the building as if this situation was never going to happen. Like he was never going to get hurt 2 more times seriously, technically 3 more times seriously. They never thought he was going to be that rusty where he just is completely devoid of anything that used to make him a special quarterback. None of them thought that was going to happen. Well, again, someone's going to have to pay the fiddler for it. So, when Jason says it, where it's like, hey, they put him to the idea of it. They went out and they did it. Deshaun did not want to come here. And so Jimmy had to make an offer he could not refuse. And so we're left paying the fiddler on that. But it's still who gave you the idea. Because I'll take it to my dying day. I know for a fact ownership loved Baker. I know for a fact that they still, hey, can we work something out here? Can we get this done? Egos, they're tough to deal with, man. When you let your ego start negotiating your contracts and negotiating things, like, and Baker's always easy to say. Like it's much easier to say now when you're on a really good football team and you're playing really well. Let's call it where it is. Baker's playing really well. It's easier to be this way where, like, hey, Johnny Manziel still rips the Browns every chance he gets because he's a loser and he's living in the past. Baker doesn't have to live in the past. He's a winner. And it's much easier to be forgiving or to have, like, hey, let's let bygones be bygones when things are going really well for you and things ain't going so well for your former team. So now I have this situation, and I never want to live with it again. And now I have to think, all right, are these people going to be good enough to keep around? Because I don't want to go looking for new people. And then we play the Kat Hickman audio, and I got a bunch of people ripping her up and down going, Ken, how could you condone this? How could you condone this? And I'm trying to give her the pass of going, hey, it's nothing but a non-answer. Kevin non-answers every day, except you guys rip him every day for non-answers. Because when the team's bad, you demand answers. That's your right. You should demand answers. And that bothers you. So I have no saying that they're non-answers on a 3-win football team that you had a hand in picking in. That's no excuse. It's not an excuse. And so while I have ripped the man across the table from me for lining up the excuse of bad luck and TV deals and calling him Anthony Dolan so many times over, hey, I can't sit there and say, bad luck, Achilles injuries, and bad luck, shoulder injuries, and bad luck, bad picks of guys who end up getting arrested. I can't do that. Can't do it. Just because I'm more comfortable in knowing who I know doesn't make it any better. But the backside of that is I know for a fact, if we're talking facts, 2 times in my life and since 1999 have they fired anybody and actually gotten better. It's always been just as bad or worse. One was Butch Davis, which ended up being bad, but it did get better. And the other one's Kevin Stefanski. And right now, Kevin Stefanski is with us. I can't say the same for Andrew and John. Can't say that. I can say Andrew's better than Sashi. I can say he's better than Joe Banner picking guys out of a magazine and then ripping the Browns on Twitter years later.
Sashi did do a nice tank job. You can't deny that.
Yes. So I can't do that. But I know that they've been better from where they're at, but does that mean if they're just better than absolute terrible, does that make them good enough for you? But I also know that we've talked about coaches who are like, hey, they're coaches who are handheld coaches. They hold the hand of the team until they're ready to compete. Then you go out there and you get yourself a real competitive coach. That concept's been thrown out all the time. This team ain't that way. They're not ready to compete. They got pieces who can compete if you get yourself the right guy, and maybe they can hit the ground running with Lenoris Sellers next year or somebody else next year. I think that the Washington Commanders of the world are few and far between, and we shouldn't use them as an example all the time like we do so brazenly. So it's a bad goal, but that's the goal.
Does it matter?
I know you guys find that insulting, and I apologize.
Does it matter? Because we already went through this once, so we had Kyle Shanahan in the building, and we flailed away and, let him leave. If this happens again with Vrabel, like if Vrabel's really good this year, you have him making the postseason.
Yeah.
If he's really good in New England, what do you think people are going to say?
They're going to say that we let another one get away. I don't know if he would have been the head coach here. I think him and Kevin are close enough where he would have gone, nah, he ain't going to be the head coach here.
Just out of professional...
I think Mike Vrabel's a stand-up dude. I don't think Mike Vrabel's any snake. I think what you see is what you get with Mike Vrabel, and what you get can be a very scary individual that believes in his principles. That's what I think. Again, as Zach tells the story, Mike Vrabel had Urban Meyer seeing God at one moment. So I don't think that's a guy to cross, and I don't think that's a guy that's easily crosses others. I think that he stands up for things, so I don't know if he would have accepted the job, even if it was said. Maybe if that's the case. Can I say this real quick before we go? Does it bother you that Alabama fans are starting to turn on Nick Saban?
Is that what they're doing?
Quote, abandoning them. I saw it on the internet yesterday from the fans.
So I'm not, admittedly, I don't know their situation.
He, quote, ran away from the NIL era.
Okay, admittedly, I don't know their situation as much, but I will say one thing Urban Meyer did out the door was do everything he could to make sure that the line of succession was going to be smooth, that he was willing to help Ryan Day, and I've heard a number of anecdotes behind the scenes on this, that he was determined to make sure that what happened at Florida did not happen at Ohio State, that he learned from those mistakes, realized what it did to his legacy also down in Florida, and that he was going to make sure to do anything that Ryan Day needed. And Ryan Day was not too proud to beg, is what I had heard on those things, which is important. I give Ryan Day a lot of credit for that, because I think a lot of coaches would be like, all right, everything out. This is my shop now. Because I don't think Urban did that necessarily when he came through. I think he was like, all right, Jim Tressel and Luke Fickell, that was all nice.
Nick
and
Saban has an office down there. What more do you want to do?
That's what I was going to ask. Is Nick Saban still willing to help?
Yeah, he's just not willing to be the head coach again. But I don't think it's the case of him abandoning anybody. I think that there's a Nick Saban way, and the Alabama way is not the Nick Saban way. The Alabama way was just Nick Saban's way, and now Alabama has their way again, and you have a guy right now who is having a little bit of trouble there. But I think Nick Saban knew when to hold him and knew when to fold him. I'm not going to go after Nick Saban for getting out of something that he had every right to get out of. Did he run away from anything? After winning, 6 national championships or 7 with...
Yeah, What more do you think Nick Saban owed you?
I mean, I lost count with how many national championships he won at Alabama. I thought it was... there's the one at LSU. He didn't win 8 total national championships, did he?
No.
Couldn't have been. Big thanks to everybody who joined us today. Bob Haney was great. Mo Egger was great. Chris Muller was great. Jason Lloyd tomorrow, 7:20. Mary Kay tomorrow, 8:20. Ain't going to want to go anywhere. We're getting ready for the Browns and Bengals. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. For Big Country, for Jeff, for Mitch, for the Slippery Wizard, Anthony Lime. I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day, my friends.
Hey, sounds good. Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
This is Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Baltimore tops my final preseason power rankings. Boy, are they loaded. Followed by defending champion Philadelphia